Bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. Oh, what a day. Today is Wednesday, April 25th, 2018. 115 days into the new year, just 250 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? What a day today. Amazing day. On Stellar went live with the alpha test. Oh, just incredible. More on that in just a minute. Tonight, very special guest. It's Laura Eisenhower. And tonight we're going to talk about how to get your power back. Tomorrow night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. The call-in numbers are 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. You can follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Is that easy enough? At JChurchRadio. You can still find us on Facebook and YouTube. Everything is Fade to Black. And if you go over now to the website, you can follow, like, and subscribe. Hang out on the sandbox, hashtag F2B. Now, oh, geez. Any questions or comments during the show tonight? Hashtag F2BQ. Email is Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Now, really quick, in case you don't know, today on Stellar kicked off the alpha testing for all registered users. Oh, what an amazing day to see that site go live and just populated with all of you friends and family, and incredible. And it all works. Okay, so this is a really, really, really big deal. I can tell you that Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and everybody else up there in Silicon Valley is watching this very closely, and they should be worried, because this is the future of everything. This is Internet 3.0, and the network, the platform worked and is working. And more on that in just a bit. Now, if you want to participate in the alpha testing, you can. You want to see what everybody is talking about and what the buzz is about, you certainly can. Just go to onstellar.com. That's the registration site, onstellar.com, ONSTELLAR.com. You go there, you register, you get your username, you verify, you get your password. It sends you an email, you confirm, you go back, you're done. Then you're going to get another email inviting you in to participate for the alpha test. That's going to have a password and a code. You're going to click on it. It's going to take you over to everything. And just get started. Go check it out. Today, tens of thousands of users today on the site. And now look, I'm just going to look, I get it. Oh my goodness. I was flooded with, and I answered everybody to the best that I could. Flooded with messages and I let it all pop through. We went through today. We had to get verifications done and, hanging out. But also, everything that you guys were doing today was excellent. Sending me messages, replying back. All of this is, making sure that the system works and hanging out with all of you. Friend requests, friend list, who's online, who's not online, like, unlike, I block, comment, post, upload videos and pictures. I was doing all of that today in between working on the show. Here, we still have Fade to Black to do tonight. And I'm going on and getting different users and friends and the influencers and all those industry leaders. I've got them going onto the site and moving stuff around. And it was just wonderful being able to upload your header images and your profile pictures and going through. So I did all of that today. The one thing that is just so wonderful is that things were working. And I was a very nervous, but the site, okay, now the site looks wonderful. There's so much to talk about. You know what? I'm going to get back to all of that in just a second, okay? Go now on stellar.com. You can register there. I'm going to get Rita to tweet that link out again. It's onstellar.com. You know what? I'll just do it right here. Okay, so I'll make it simple. www.onstellar.com. Referral code Jimmy. Okay, it's really that simple. You want the referral code because when we go live, you're going to get bonus tokens and stuff like that. Okay, so here it is. OnStellar.com, referral code Jimmy. I'm just making this really quick. Go, do it, figure it out. Okay, all right. Pull up your big boy pants and go and figure out your password and your screen name and everything else. Okay, and there you go. Now, let me move on really quick because I've got other stuff that needs to be done. I'm going to talk about On Stellar more in just a bit. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, and you can do that over at jimmychurchradio.com. We have over 840 shows archived right there, just $2 a month. Our next event is going to be June 1st through the 4th. It's coming up. It's in 1 month. Contact in the Desert, Indian Wells, Palm Springs at the Renaissance Resort and Spa. I cannot wait. It's coming up on us so quickly now. And just contact inthedesert.com, tickets and info right there. We've got a full weekend of events planned. And don't forget to sign up for our conference, which is the Soul Tech Gathering up at ECETI Ranch. That's this August 9th through the 12th, 300 Fadernauts all in one place at ECETI. Okay, soultechgathering.com. It's going to sell out. Go and get your tickets now. And you can also become a Fadernaut over in our membership section of jimmychurchradio.com. We get the Bunker Cam, commercial-free downloadable archives. And if you get the Game Changer, you're going to get autographed shirts and hats and all of that stuff. And also, if you renew your Game Changer, you get the new Fade to Black t-shirt, right? So go now and become a member and in our membership section on the site. My brain is completely scrambled. I haven't spent that much time today, not only online, but making phone calls and getting things set up and testing and notes and back and forth. And it was just an incredibly busy day today since 8 o'clock this morning. It's now 7 p.m. tonight, and I've worked for 11 straight hours, no breaks, and now we've got the show to do tonight. So just bear with me. My brain is good. It's coming back. You know what? The only thing that'll fix that, the only thing, River Moon coffee. Love my River Moon coffee. all of our sponsors. Life Change Tea. Those supplements today got me through today. I did everything too. CBD, olive leaf, moringa, pine bark. I did G.I. Joe. I did everything today, man. I did everything. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today. Al Pacino is 78. And very strange, but his co-star in The Godfather, Talia Shire, today is 72. Jason Lee today is 48. And My Name is Earl, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. That Jason Lee today is 48. Hank Azaria is 54. You know, and when, you know, The Simpsons, he was really good at Mystery Men, amazing in Ray Donovan, right? But every time I see Hank Azaria, I think of one thing. You know what I'm thinking about. You know what I'm about to say. Are you ready? The Birdcage. Hank Azaria today is 54. Our dead guy's birthday today is Ella Fitzgerald. 1917 to 1996, died at the age of 79. The Queen of Jazz, who won 13 Grammy Awards, became a legend for singing Into Each Life, Some Rain Must Fall, or Summertime, right? I'm Making Believe. Ella Fitzgerald, happy birthday. I hope she's listening right now. On this day in history, 1990. Yeah, big day. It's because the crew of the Space Shuttle Discovery placed the Hubble Space Telescope into orbit. Low Earth orbit, that is, around planet Earth. Fader fact, by the end of 1993, which was less than 25 years ago, there were only 623 websites on the World Wide Web. 623. And that is a fader fact. Time for Beluga, Jimmy. Yeah, not yet. I think after the show tonight, I think some chilled vodka is on the menu. Absolutely. I think we're gonna do some fried tortellini, fried in bacon fat. So we're gonna fry some tortellini, cheese tortellini, nice and crispy, and marinara sauce, and a bottle of chilled vodka. That's my dinner tonight. Oh, what a day today. Can you believe that, though? Less than 25 years ago, only 623 websites on the World Wide Web. And then it takes us to today. The launch of OnStellar, the alpha version, and it's running, and you know, so how to go from that to today, just an incredible, and just 25 years, less than 25 years. OnStellar represents a huge leap forward in the internet. This is the Internet 3.0. And I'm not joking when I say that Silicon Valley, those corporate mega giants up there, are looking at OnStellar and going, holy crap, because this is the future of the internet. Now, the technology, what has been put into this network, this platform, is second to none. It is nearly perfect. And this being based on the blockchain and decentralized, and how this is going to push the internet forward, everybody is looking at this. And that's not the best part. The best part is this amazing next step forward, huge leap forward in the internet, has been built for our community. Our community, for the first time, is being recognized for its importance, for its openness, for its knowledge, and OnStellar is here for us. It's incredible. Anybody out there that was going, oh man, you know, and I get it. I get it. I get the critics. I get the skeptics. I get all of that. I get it. But the vision that on Stellar, the team has, Fade to Black, the Game Changer Network, Rita and myself and the crew here, the vision of the future and how big this is, we recognize. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this to everybody out there. Listen to me. I'm choosing my words very carefully. This is huge. Its importance cannot be measured. The beauty, the slickness, the aesthetics, the user interface, the user experience is the best. The best. And for those out there that thought that this was me flapping my jaw and that there was no way that this was going to happen, now look. This is not only this is not a website. This is a network. This is a platform. Everybody out there is going to be involved. They don't have a choice. It's going to be that big. And I'm sitting back and I'm looking at the website today. I'm looking at the platform today, and I'm thinking to myself, nothing matters right now. This is so big. All the trivial stuff going on in this community doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everybody out there that was so concerned with like trolling or talking smack or out there stabbing people in the back or doing you know what? That is insignificant soap opera drama on the bottom of my shoes. On the bottom of your shoes. Think about that. We are going to blow past all of it. We have on Stellar. It is so cool, so amazing, so perfect, so slick. Everything that you need, everything that you've ever wanted or desired to connect around the world with everybody, it's all in one place. So it's up, it's running. Now, I want to address a couple of things. Now that I've spoken my piece, it was so. I'm going to say over the last 3 months, Rita and I worked for 20 to 22 hours a day, 7 days a week. We did not stop, along with everybody over at On Stellar. The amount of work and effort that was put into it, and it's not stopping. It's not stopping today. Today was the first day of alpha testing, and in the intensity of launching it and making sure. But you know what? It worked. And all day today, all we did was just fix issues, and we got through it. There were so many people on the site, though. One thing happened that I wanted to happen. Everybody panicked, except me, which was the site, right? It crashed. The opposite, if it didn't crash, that means we don't have users. We don't have people participating. It got flooded, and it crashed, and I laughed. I was so happy. And we had to go back and fix some issues. And it took about an hour today to configure servers. We had tested the site for 1 million users at one time. And when all of that happens, I just roll my eyes. There is no way. Because even Fade to Black, by the way, we own our own servers. And they're robustly tested to have 1 million people on at one time, right? Okay, at 7 p.m. Pacific, when we launch this show, sometimes, we'll get a flood in 20,000, 30,000 people all at once, and it lags and crashes. I'm like, what happened to the 1 million? We tested for 1 million. What happened to that? So none of that matters. What happens is, what really matters is when real users get on and start cranking this thing. And we got it straightened out. And then it went a little more users. But the point is, it works. The functionality, everything that we need works. We're going to continue to add features. And then we're going to go into beta testing with more features. And then that's it. We're going to go. We're ahead of schedule, and we're going to do this Q3 launch. And I think we may go a month ahead, maybe 2 months, because it's that good. On Stellar, what a day today! Just what an absolute crazy, beautiful, wonderful day. And for all of you looking at your responses and the activity and people and posting and things, I'm watching everything. I'm watching where people are, and it was just an unbelievable thing. And I sat back and I thought to myself, nothing really matters. This is so beautiful and so perfect and so good. Nothing matters out there. Nothing matters. On Stellar's built for you, and I'm toasting to you right now. You guys earned it, and for once, it's about respect, and you have your own social media network. How does that feel? One of the wonderful things is I was going through and looking at everybody's posts, and I'm poking around. I'm looking at your profiles, and I'm poking around and reading everybody's comments and in the threads, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? You know what's wonderful right now? I don't see one advertisement. No ads. How is that possible? No ads. It's unbelievable. You need to think about that. It is just, oh man. Okay. So, I've got lots of things that I have to go and approve and friend requests and all of that stuff, and I'll get to all of it, and I'm going to go through everybody one by one and thank each and every one of you. It means so much to me. It's such an honor. I'm humbled. So is everybody at On Stellar, and to see that today, and you can go and look at this too as well. So I've got, I'm talking to everybody today, right? And I've got George Nori on the phone. And George is doing his first ever social media post. He doesn't have a Facebook account. He doesn't have a Twitter account. He doesn't. On Stellar is his first, right? So I've got George on the phone, and literally he did his first post. So you can go to On Stellar and go to George and look right there, and it says that this is my first social media post. Go and check that out. That's how cool it is. So on the phone today with David Wilcock and Corey Good and Jay Widener and Laura Eisenhower, who is on with us tonight, John Greenwald. I'm just trying to think. I'm going down the list of everybody. John Lund. And going down the list and speaking with everybody. I only had so much time today to get things done like that. But and just Billy Carson today, spent some time with him on the phone. And their excitement about what they were looking at and what they were seeing. You know, they knew it was going to be good. They didn't know it was going to be that epic, that great. And to get that feedback from them, it just means everything, and it should mean everything to you. So go and register on stellar.com if you haven't already. Get your username and your password. You're going to get another email with a special code, and just go back and go. There were, I'm going to count today. I had 1, 2, 3 people that had issues out of 20,000 or more that were on the site. Think about that for a second and just digest that. Okay, so if you've got issues, which I don't know if you do, but if you've got issues, everybody that had issues worked it out. Cortana she's the one today that just, I saw her on on the site, and now she can't get back in. I don't know why that is, but everybody else has been able to go through and pierce the veil. So go explore, hang out, connect. You're going to see a lot of familiar names there, not only with those industry leaders and authors, but also the friends that you have out there in the world. So go and connect, explore, upload, comment, and figure out what's going on. It's very easy to navigate, and I think that with all of you uploading your profile picture and your header and your all of your profile information and settings and all of that, it's all very, very simple. It's been built to be really easy. It's more about acquiring knowledge and sharing knowledge. That's what it's based on, and you're just going to have a great time doing it. I've watched everybody today engaging in conversation and chatting and messaging. It's just wonderful. It's an absolutely perfect social media network, and it's just for our community. So, and I do often wonder, I've got to get out of here and get Laura on the show here, but I often wonder, what do we do with everybody that just, that want to come and discover the community too as well? It's open. It's like a Unitarian church. Everybody is welcome. It's just what a great user experience, and no advertising. The only advertising that's going to be on the site is from you. Yeah, think about that for a second. You're not going to be invaded. Facebook is done. After today, I'm just so done with Facebook. But I was on my timeline yesterday, and I was counting with Rita. Every other post on Facebook, on the news feed, every other post is an ad. It's the most invasive thing. Every other post, it's done. Yes, you can, if you go to, I'm looking at Eileen Davis here. I've got to get out of here. Eileen, if you go to my feed, go to my profile page on Stellar, I've got a link right there where you can report bugs. And that's the point of alpha. Okay, we're trying to find all of the bugs that we can, and we're going to go in and fix them. Every day it's going to get a little bit better. Then we'll go to beta testing. We'll add some more features. That'll last about a week. Then we go live. Now. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What a great day today. I'm glad you guys had so much fun over at On Stellar, and this is it. The future is here, and it was built for you. I'm going to get out of here. I want to talk to Laura Eisenhower. She grounds me. Hey, you know what? All the guests here ground me, but Laura's the best. Tonight, it's Laura Eisenhower, how to get your power back. Step 1 today on Stellar. OnStellar.com. Go and register. Use my promo code, referral code, Jimmy. Get started. Go hang out. The future has arrived. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back with our guest, Laura Eisenhower. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark. deep with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Natural Health Solutions with Chris and Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Great, Chris.
Now, you're the CEO of GetTheTea.com, right?
Yes, I am.
What is GetTheTea.com? I mean, is this tea you buy in a store?
Well, no, it's not. Life Change Tea is just that, life-changing. Life Change Tea is an herbal tea that gently cleanses your body from intruders.
What do you mean by intruders?
Well, intruders are toxins, chemicals, GMOs, heavy metals, and more. They're in our food, in our water, in our air we breathe.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
And Life Change Tea will help you with removing these, as you say, intruders?
That's right, Chris.
Are there side effects with this tea?
Well, you might lose a little weight. When you clean your colon, you lose weight, you feel better, and you have more energy.
Wow. Ronnie, where can people purchase Life Change Tea?
Oh, that's easy. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
Ronnie, I want to thank you for being on the show. People, don't forget, GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Laura Eisenhower. Segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by Life Change Tea. That's right. Starting with their super strength tea, we use Life Change Tea products here every day. Fade to Black friends and family and the staff use the promo code FADER, F-A-D-E-R, when you click on that banner over at jimmychurchradio.com, and you are going to get free shipping. Go to the specials page. All right, tonight it's Laura Eisenhower. She's a global alchemist, a cosmic mythologist, an intuitive astrologist. She's an internationally acclaimed speaker who has presented all of her information worldwide. She is the great-granddaughter of President Dwight David Eisenhower. She is one of the leading researchers on health, exopolitics, alchemy, metaphysics, and ancient history. She works to free us from the 3D holographic time loop, false archonic systems, and the military-industrial complex with their hidden agendas so we can take our power back. Tonight we're going to discuss just that, how to fight the darkness that seems to be the hidden agenda of the media and world and corporate leaders right now. And I would like to welcome back the one and only Laura Eisenhower. Laura, good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Jimmy?
It's great to hear your voice.
It's great to hear your voice.
No, it's even better to hear your voice.
Oh, wow. Gosh, we could spend all night on this one.
So yeah,
no, you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, thank you for taking the time to hang out with us tonight. It was a very busy day. We'll talk about On Stellar in just a bit. You've briefly, had some time to spend on the site, and it looks amazing. We'll talk about that in a second. But you're here in California for the New Living Expo, which kicks off this weekend, and always a great time over there. What are you going to be speaking about at the New Living Expo?
Well, at the New Living Expo, I will be speaking about the new paradigm, divine human, just, what it really means in these times to actually, take our power back. It sounds so simple. What does that mean? Confidence? Does it mean we feel good about ourselves, that we're speaking our truth? Well, yes, but there's a lot more to it than just that. And then I'll be talking also about the current ascension cycle, where we are in this ascension window right now, where it more than likely is going to go depending on a few things, and also the rehabilitation process that humanity is undergoing as more crimes against humanity become revealed and as disclosure begins to take more center stage. And, just information about discernment and a lot about alchemy, which has definitely been my focus for many years in my presentations. Bringing people even more deeply into what that means and how it relates to the earth grids and the multidimensional cosmos and how we're connected into all that.
Now, you've recently, I do want to ask you this. You just recently moved to the, I don't have to say specifically, but let's just say the north central part of the United States, and one of those beautiful, majestic states up there. And to be in that kind of environment, how has that affected you? It must be just amazing.
It really is. It's really what I needed. There's not a lot of interference. It's just beautiful nature. I haven't been in all seasons for a while, even though I have to say I feel like a Californian at heart.
Right.
Especially when I'm here. I'm just like, good weather every day. But I just can't say enough how grateful I am that I was able to make this move. I'm right near Glacier National Park. I know I'm sort of giving a little bit away, but just the vastness. I mean, every time I drive to the store and back or go anywhere, you just know that it's nothing you could ever get tired of. And I feel that way about nature, period, but just the way the colors change and and just the lack of interference is something I'm not used to. So I'm getting a lot more grounded and a lot more just in the flow that I need to be in to be effective for myself and others.
Well, one thing that I have to have is I have to be able to pick up the phone and order some Chinese food and have it delivered. How's that going for you?
Well, I happen to live with a chef, so that's really quite wonderful. But yes, that was very much my former life, and I still think that's a really great lifestyle because there's really good cooks out there, and it's nice to have it delivered right to your door. That would be a little bit challenging where I am, but I still have that experience when I go to hotels and I get the room service and feel like, it's just one phone call away. But yeah, I have a very generous partner who makes me really amazing food, but we're a little remote, so it's not so easy to just call and get food delivered.
Yeah.
So we just make it ourselves.
I love that part of the country and the ability to live like that. But you're watching TV, you got a movie on, you're like, man, let's order some Chinese. No, we can't. But and being able to, how quick, because we all do this. I mean, I acclimate really, really quickly when you're like that and you're cut off intentionally, right? When you're cut off from things like that, you get used to it pretty quick, don't you? I know that I do.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Because it's so easy to just absorb yourself in everything that's around you, just breathing in the air and just, everything that where you turn your head, it's just like, wow, look at that, or, this bird, or this, this beautiful still lake in front of us that you can even drink out of. It's just really easy to, let the rest go. But I love the fact that I still travel a lot because I don't think I could stay there all year round without feeling a little restless. But as far as like a home base and a place to ground into, all that other stuff sort of falls to the wayside as long as one's prepared, or else, in the winter especially, you can get easily snowed in and you can get pretty screwed if you don't think in advance.
Now, for you, I just talked about this connectivity to nature and the oneness that comes with that, but also you specifically, but anybody that goes through that kind of change, you tend to get removed from negativity and social drama that goes down out here in the big lights, in the big city. And how does that start to relax you?
Yeah, it's nice because you get to put more attention on old stuff that's accumulated. It gives you the opportunity to purge instead of always dealing with what's coming in. It's sort of like messing up a counter every time you want to cook and cleaning, what's immediate, but not really getting down to the roots of the deeper cleaning because you're so busy just trying to keep the surface clear, to be all metaphorical about food. And, so, before it was very much about how to clear myself of, like, whatever attack or interference was coming in at that moment. But I'm like, gosh, it's taking me away from really being able to go deeper and really look at some of the stuff that's still, an issue for me or just something that I wasn't able to put my attention on because it's just like, having the fly swatter out to all these archonic energies and all these frequency distortions doesn't really give you a chance to go real deep. So the beauty is no matter where we live, we can take that time if we're just conscious of it. But I was raising twins, and so, just being a parent with all those interferences, I was kind of like entering a survival energy of just going through the motions to meet everybody's needs and just to shield myself, and shield them. And it was actually really starting to deplete me. So, yeah, I've been able to, really bounce back because you have more attention on giving your own power back to yourself and replenish your own life force, which can be difficult to do. So, yeah, it's good to have, balance. I think living in a city or being surrounded by that, is awesome because you're right in the thick of it. You're right in the, it's really potent. But, yeah, I'm sure, that does require a chance to just kind of shut it all down and get away, which I know you give yourself the opportunity to do. But, yeah, I'm so grateful, though, that this is something I wake up to every day versus running for it. Like, I got to get out and just meditate by a tree.
The ability now to recognize those archons and those interferences that go on, in city life, are you able to now recognize what those are? So it does, you don't have to live in South Dakota or Montana or Idaho to do this. But you are now able to recognize that, right? And now give those out there that need to recognize what is actually going on, because now you can identify exactly what was happening.
Right. The contrast helps it to stand out a little bit more. I was aware of it before, but so much ends up sneaking its way in, and I would notice that, but sometimes you're not sure what angle it's coming from. My reading space, I do sessions, that was getting targeted. I was, putting names of clients in my phone as a contact, and I get a completely different client with the exact same phone number. They're like, I'm like, do you know who Jennifer is? Because she happens to have the same phone number as you. And they're like, no, and her name might have been Allison. And I'm like, something's going on here. I could feel myself getting attacked through my devices. I took my website down for a while, took a break from that. It was more like it was so swirling around my head, even if I was aware of it, I couldn't take a deep enough breath to just be the observer. So now that I have that ability, it's helping me to really work with clients on a much better level. That's why I took a break. I'm like, I have to be at my best energetically to be of use to anybody or to be able to really assist anybody. So I sort of shut things down. My background was in wilderness expedition leadership, though, so I did have, something to go on from my past. Like, okay, I've been out of the D.C. area, which I was partially raised in my life. I've lived, in upstate New York and, pretty highly populated areas. And then I went off into the wilderness for a couple of years. And so I always sort of had that as a backdrop to begin to notice these sort of archonic energies. And then I found myself sort of in the thick of it again without being able to manage it effectively because of all the other demands. So, yeah, this was the perfect medicine. I got to shut things down for a while, take a deep breath, and then, working with people and being able to sort of see what location they're in and how that area is influencing them, it's a lot clearer. It's a lot easier to see, on a psychic clairvoyant level, because that can create a lot of static. Right. I probably would have been able to manage it a lot easier when I was living in those areas if I didn't have the intensity of single parenting and if, a few things were a little bit different as far as maybe having more community support. I just ended up moving around a lot. But anybody can do it. You can shield yourself. That's part of, calling our power back. How can we call our energy back and be grounded no matter what we're around, no matter what's in front of us? And that's, a huge part of my focus. It wouldn't be like, yeah, you got to move, exactly like you said, like, yeah, you got to go like as far away from it all as you possibly can. It's like, no, not necessarily. How can you be where you are right now and have it serve you? Because those are also the areas where the greatest change can happen. So if you're in an area where there's a lot of artificial intelligence signals and a lot of, EMFs and just all sorts of just crazy things, the chance to really shield yourself and be empowered and send out a frequency that can actually help people to connect with something beyond like mind control or social engineering or the toxicity, I think is why certain people are still in those areas that are doing amazing work, like you and others. And anytime, I feel I need to go back into it all, I see it as just, I don't know why I think of a 70s commercial, like how Dawn takes grease out of the way. It's like, blink.
Right.
It's just like creating an energetic purification from one's own energy field into the environment where it's dense and it needs it most.
With somebody, let's start with step one of taking your power back, because you bring up a really good point. When you're in a populated, it doesn't have to be densely just in a town or a small city or a suburb, you're compounded from all directions with Wi-Fi and radio signals and Bluetooth and things that are happening just all around you. Your neighbor's got some Wi-Fi antenna boosted up to 20, right? And there are things everywhere. So what would be the first step to cleansing this kind of stuff?
I really think that one needs to set aside a room or a corner in their home that is like a purification place, a place that you can just go to. Maybe it has a diffuser with essential oils coming out of it. Maybe, you have music that's set up and ready to just press play and it's tuned to like 432 hertz or 528. Just a chance to just really like breathe deeply, ground out energies, work with certain stones and crystals that'll help to clear your energy field. The black stones like black tourmaline or obsidian, and we've talked about shungite before. That's all very protective to psychic attacks or EMFs or chemtrail type stuff. And, wear them in your carry them in your pocket. But, just some place to, maybe at the end of the day or before you start the day, just really focus in on your breath. And there's certain things that one can do to set intentions, recognizing that we're creative beings. Most of the things that we don't realize we're leaking our power to or losing our power to has a lot to do with the propaganda that they're putting out based on certain software that they project out into the environment or into the grids or through media, politics, religion, whatever. And even if we don't agree with it, we still react to it. We still respond to it. It still might suck us dry, or we might actually jump on board and sort of get lost to it. So if we could just find a place to center ourselves in our home to clear the energy field so you can hear your own thoughts and reset, then, you're going to find that your dream space, your astral space, when you sleep is much clearer. You're going to get messages. You might feel into your own guidance as to why you're in that particular location and things that you can do to help other people step out of, those kind of traps. Because there's one thing to share information, but those who are close to information get like a transmission from your energy field. They might not want to hear this or that about conspiracy or disclosure or ascension, but they might get a transmission from your energy field that just helps them to kind of raise their vibration or see beyond the mind control fields or these reversal codes that have been put in place in order to digress us. And so, anytime there's somebody that's vibrating at a higher level than that, it really transfers to people, especially if you hold an intention in your heart that, those that are ready for an activation can receive one from you, even if you're standing in the grocery store line. And then instead of being an empath who takes on everybody's pain and suffering or unconsciousness or the struggle to be around it, you're in your power, you're in your light body or aware of your light consciousness, your higher consciousness that we're all still working on integrating into our physical, but you're able to stand in that power and be an activator instead of an absorber. Because if we don't feel like we can do anything with our awareness, we tend to open ourselves up to feeling everything around us, which can create a lot of frustration and heaviness. But the more we're just like, okay, well, regardless of where I am, it doesn't need to impact us, especially if we use particular modalities and tools to protect ourselves, then we could just go out and activate people right and left. I mean, they might not know what hit them. They might crawl away into a fetal position for a couple weeks or maybe less and come out like the other side of it, not knowing what hit them because they got a glimpse of something authentic to their spirit or their soul versus something that's feeding their mind or trying to distract them from what their natural state truly is, which we on a multi-generational level have not been very used to, and we've kind of lost the familiarity to it.
And so I guess you're suggesting that you don't, in your quiet room, you don't have CNN or Fox News running in the background.
Yeah. Turning off the devices is, really important to create that quiet space, because if we're constantly bombarded, then we can't hear our own inner voice. Our creative energy ends up being programmed by what we see. Even if we don't buy into it, it's still a frequency thing. It might bring us down, it might make us frustrated, or we might just attach ourselves to it and become enablers, because there's really nothing that they can do to sabotage our ascension except for convince us that they're able to, because the technologies are basically neutralized at this point, but the belief systems and the mind control still linger because it's been so ingrained in our way of thinking that, it's sort of like if we were abused as a child, even if we're not being abused anymore, we might still go into a default memory and still sort of play that patterning over. We might, attract the same sort of circumstances that we were raised in because we've been conditioned. Another really important thing is, the quality of our water, of course, and also, it's amazing because everybody loves love, and but it's beautiful to know that that's one of the biggest priorities on the planet is these sacred union relationships. Those have been targeted from God, the beginning of this physical experience in this particular density, like with these dark technologies. And we've just learned that, maybe it isn't the priority. Maybe relationship is just, something to sometimes roll our eyes at or not, take into account as being a priority for our ability to be sovereign. And it doesn't mean like we give our power away to the relationship. It's just the focus on our inner balance and the way we relate to and treat others is going to protect us more than we may realize. And it sounds so simple, but we've been desensitized by movies and TV, and so people play out these sort of archetypes or these false archetypes or these distortions, and they think it's just, this is just what humans do, without realizing that if we could just get that piece back, if we could just figure that out and put a little bit more attention on it, that's going to dissolve all this other stuff because it feeds on imbalance. It's purposely created imbalance. So it's not so much about it having to be about the relationship. It obviously has to start with ourselves and finding that harmony again, because everything that is creating digression is reversal codes of the masculine and feminine, and our DNA being dumbed down is where those energies have been split, and they've been unable to synthesize until now. So this is all sort of like a new revelation for all of us to, realize like, oh my gosh, we can make the priority love, and it's not just cheesy new agey like, oh, love everybody. That's good, that's great, but it's much deeper than that, and it's connected to our DNA activation. But it needs to be kind of recognized to the depths of, why it's important instead of putting a false face on and loving for the sake of love. We need boundaries too. We need discernment. It just goes into like a stronger foundation deep within the self to be able to give oneself permission to know when to say no and to know when something's healthy and safe for us instead of blind kindness, if you know what I mean.
Well, you bring up probably one of the most important points, certainly a starting point. Everything is designed to keep you off balance, literally and figuratively. It's not a joke. And the more that they can keep you out of focus and keeping your eye off of the prize, they win. And that's it. And if you recognize that and you understand it, then suddenly you are aware of it and you can see that you are literally being pushed off of center 24 hours a day. Yep,
absolutely. And that's why just being able to really just find your center again, it all, restores itself and regenerates really naturally. It's encoded in nature that anytime something gets injured, there's a natural healing response. When you have mind control, you have infection. You have things that get exacerbated into like something even worse than what it originally was. Just like when we're feeling a negative emotion. Then an archon comes in and makes it into a drama and makes it into a crisis and into a conflict and into, abandonment or betrayal, where initially it might have just been, a negative emotion. But if we can't pull it up to the surface and see it for what it is and clear it, we're going to get played. And it's nothing wrong, with having these wounds. It's how we deal with them and what we allow into our space when that happens that determines how successful the outcome is. And so we, just really need to be patient with each other, or else it's blame, shame, and I just came up with the word, the drain blame. No, I don't know what that was.
The drain blame. That's good. That's good. What was that word that you and I, we invented a word like 3 years ago, and we laughed. We said it all weekend. Oh, man.
I don't know if it was the tofu.
Yes.
The vegan.
The UFO tofu. Oh, man.
No, it was, what do vegan ETs ride on?
A tofu UFO. Tofu UFO. How do we say that was I can't. Somebody's going to hit us with it here in Twitter. Now, what do you call a vegan ET? Tofu UFO? I can't remember. It was so funny. We had so much fun with that.
We had it, though. It was like tofu.
Man, I can't.
Tofu. Oh my God! Why can't we think of it?
I don't know, but it was
because we might just start laughing too hard or something. Who knows?
That was the funniest thing because we said it for 4 straight days after that. We couldn't stop. Well, we're going to take a break right here. Let's do that, and we'll figure that out. What was it? Tofu UFO. Tofu.
Oh, I'll be thinking about it during the break. Sure.
We've got it wrong because we said it so easily, right? It was a perfect word. Okay, we'll figure it out during the break. Our guest tonight, the one and only Laura Eisenhower. And I've got a ton of questions. We just went through step 1 of taking your power back. We'll continue this for the rest of the night. It's going to be one of those conversations on Fade to Black, I guarantee. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back. More with Laura Eisenhower right after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
You're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And this is Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. the real oil. CBD is truly ancient life oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Beckley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Laura Eisenhower. We're talking about how to take your power back. And this segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Use that promo code F2B blend and you will get 15% off of your order today. Just click on the River Moon Coffee banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. Very simple. Laura.
Hey, Tofu FO.
Tofu FO. Tofu FO. That was a great weekend. And you know what? I want to bring something up. I've known you for a long time, and we've hung out a lot over the years. But I don't think, and I've always respected you on your clearness, but I've never heard you this clear and this grounded before. I hear it. Do you feel those changes?
I do. I'm glad to hear this feedback. I feel like, hey, am I talking slower? I hope.
That'll never happen, Laura. Don't go there.
Well, okay. Well, all that aside, no, I do feel grounded. I feel more connected to myself than I have in a long time. I mean, I'm always connected to myself as far as my own inner truth and what's important to me and what my mission is, but to fully get into my body has been a challenge. I mean, that's what this targeting, attempts to do, is to really, knock us and throw us out of our bodies, and it impacts our nervous system. But as we know, the whole human race is targeted, except they might not know it. They might create a subpersonality that's a part of the programming that maybe causes that feeling in them like they're thriving and they're, on the track of success, and there's nothing to really question out in the world, but they're doing great, so why question it? That's a different kind of grounding. It sometimes relies on false light or status or things from the external to give one a sense of, connection to reality. But if all that got ripped away from the person, they might not know who the heck they are. So those of us that do know or are trying to lift up the curtain and show people other things, that are happening, there's some real attacks that happen. And I was always one to not always assume, like, oh, I'm being attacked and that's why I'm like this, until it just became so obvious and clear that a lot of the time that is what's going on. And I've gotten, a lot of feedback and have learned to protect myself more, I guess. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, sometimes we have a false sense of security that can give us that sense of thriving, and we see that amongst people that wouldn't want to hear this kind of information, and that's a little bit of a trick that is being played on people. That avoidance of the dark shadow work, or going into the underworlds, or really being able to go through a death and rebirth experience so that you can live life on your own terms, not just based on how successfully you play the game. And so in this disclosure time, when people realize that a lot of the things they've invested into are not authentic or true or of integrity, those that have those value systems, might be, really thrown and might have to, start to go into that zone. And I've been in that zone a lot. I mean, just the timeline that I was being ushered into, as far as the Mars agenda goes, and certain expectations maybe from certain family members just coming, into this particular family line. So the amount of death and rebirth that I needed to go through to just really stay true to myself, has helped me to have the voice I have and to be strong in my mission. But it's been so hard to just be in my body. And finally, I feel like, oh my gosh, I can feel my feet chakras. I can actually feel my feet like I haven't been able to feel them. It's like the circulation is going all the way down, whereas before, I'm kind of holding on to myself like a balloon, really not in my body at all, protecting myself from anything trying to, get in there. So thank you. Yeah, no, I've done a lot of work.
Now, you just mentioned something that I need to go back and address. You said through this disclosure that is happening now, some out there may have lost trust in certain things, and you need to be a little bit careful. What were you referring to there?
I'm not sure. I was talking about those that aren't ready for any of this kind of information, that have invested themselves into, more what's happening on the news and which side are they on, and it's sort of like, being in the crowd watching a game being played, which team's going to win. And if your team is winning, then you feel good. But at the same time, both teams aren't something to fully, put our trust into. We need to learn how to fall back on ourselves in order to be sovereign, in order to be empowered, in order to really move into ascension energies. It's not to say that we shouldn't be supportive of those that we might feel aligned with, but, in order to really understand the totality of what we need to step into, we need to fully know ourselves and go on some, real deep journeys to see where ancestral patterns might still exist, where programmings might still exist, or where any sort of manipulation may exist. So I wasn't so much referring to people that are already in the know, but on that note, there's, some disappointments that people might feel with certain individuals that they've put their trust and faith into. And again, if that's manifesting in somebody's life, it's not, really to crush us that all of a sudden we feel a disconnect or lack of faith. It's really just a reminder that, okay, your intuition's working, your discernment's working, or there's some sort of blessing here because you now know maybe what that person's made of and how they're not serving you. And so people get really bent out of shape with the doom and gloom of all the crimes against humanity. And yes, it's disturbing and we need to take a stand and hold them accountable. But at the end of the day, it's not like we're just sitting in a pool of betrayal like lost children, even though it might feel that way for some people that are starting to get in touch with this information or seeing how obvious it is starting to become. That the good news is that it's our chance to really understand self-knowledge and self-discovery and what we're truly made of. And some people wouldn't do that if everything looks good on the outside in the external world. It actually denies them the opportunity to say, hey, you're a leader too, or, there's something for you in this. We tend to think in duality: success, failure, misfortune, fortune. I was betrayed, or I'm a victim, or, well, it's all going really well for me and I have nothing to complain about. And we sort of see things as one or the other, or a mixed bag of experiences. But all of it serves us at the end of the day to help develop ourselves. And that's really the prerequisite to unity consciousness. How can we possibly unify if we're constantly externalizing things, or having our self-worth be made or broken by the people in our lives or the people that we support and stand behind? You can be disappointed without, losing yourself. If you're putting that much reliance on anybody, something's bound to manifest to help you to get, in touch with, who you really are. I think that's what these times are about. And it can be scary, but I think this is what our community really offers, people, is it's not just information. There's real spiritual integrity amongst many of us, and we're here to share information and also soften the discomfort that can come along with it through just, being like equals in this, or recognizing that, we're all sharing, in this journey together. And we can, unite more on those principles, I think. So those that don't have this, that might look at us from the outside, not sure, what to make of it, hopefully they'll feel a little bit more warmed up to it, to see, like our leaders, they might present information, they might share certain things, but is the substance really there? I mean, I think we're all putting out information to have a greater conversation, and it's not about the fight for who's right or who's wrong. We're putting it all out on the table so that we can exercise discernment, and so can everybody who's listening to us. And that's where I think, there's a real chance that this is, a strong example of the new paradigm of what community is, what relationship is to kind of put our egos aside and remember what we're really doing it for, and anybody who wants to step up into a leadership position that doesn't feel ready, or they might feel less than, or maybe even full of themselves, we got to put all that aside. What are we doing it for? And I remind people, it's like, because I do sessions all the time and people want to stand in their power and do something, or maybe they're afraid of it, but what are we doing it for? Look around, look at the skies, look at the oceans, look at, how the earth has been treated. Think about the thing that triggers you and makes you angry. That's also your passion and your purpose. Put our identities to the side and remember, what's the hope at the end of the day? And what are we really serving? And then it doesn't matter if you're ready or not. You're just going to do it.
Well, I wanted to ask you about the military-industrial complex, because you've been speaking about this for years. And now we have suddenly the Pentagon is the ufologist, the UFO community's best friend, releasing videos, and suddenly there's this disclosure going on, which may or may not be what we think it is. But the community now is supposed to act like this is something that we need to trust. When this started to happen, with your knowledge of the MIA and the Pentagon, what did you think was really happening?
Okay, just back up a little bit. What was presented that we should be trusting of?
The UFO, all of those videos that were presented of the Navy and what was going on out there with UAPs that started on December 16th.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we're supposed to have total confidence in the fact that that's UFOs, off-planet beings. Was that?
Well, my question is actually more direct than that. The military-industrial complex has never told the truth to the American public or the rest of the world ever, right? And now suddenly they're releasing videos, and this is supposed to be in our best interest?
Yeah, I mean, the question is, why has there been secrecy for so long? And when disclosure happens, particularly coming from something outside of our own experiences in community or what whistleblowers have to say, if something's being encouraged outside of that, I mean, one has to figure that secrecy has been to their benefit up until they feel ready to tell us something. And when they're ready to tell us something, it's usually because what they kept secret has reached a certain point of fruition that it's safe for them to start to bring out, the hidden information. There's so much manipulation that it's unbelievable. I'm discerning pretty much about, everything. So if it's in our best interest, it really depends who has said that and what is their history. I might have missed kind of a bit of this when it was first coming out. I mean, and I might just filter some of that stuff out. We've been dealing with off-planet influences for so many thousands of years. There's been treaties that were put in place. Actually, the government ET involvement started in like 1912 or 1936. It really started to take hold. And then in Roosevelt's administration and during the Second World War. And then, there's Truman, and then it goes into Eisenhower, and, treaties that are renewed every 10 years. So there's been a lot of activity going on. And until the whole storyline has been exposed, whatever parts of it that we're being told isn't enough, because it's not giving us enough information. I mean, if we're going to know anything about disclosure coming from anything besides what we're already creating ourselves, and we're just being encouraged to, trust something or believe in something, what is the story surrounding it? And if something's being hidden, then I would keep it at arm's length until they begin to start talking about the stuff that we're willing to discuss.
Do you think there's ever a point where we can believe what the Pentagon is feeding us when it comes to the subject of ET and UFOs?
I want to say yes. I think with compartmentalism, we're going to get a lot of, maybe different, things coming forward. I mean, there's the one type, which is the whistleblower, who is going against the grain, who is stepping out and saying it like it is, regardless of what anybody thinks. And then there's those that might be appointed to that position. The Mars recruiters that I was dealing with, they were all connected to ufology, but they're also connected to MyLab, psychotronic weaponry, artificial telepathy, and all this type of stuff. But they've been studying UFOs and abduction stories for a really long time. But it's a very diverse group. Not everybody is in the know, and some feel like they're really serving humanity, and other people are sort of the dark ringleaders that are acting as handlers or controlling the way that they're working with these different scientists or physicists that they've recruited into the scheme. And so, they can prep somebody or groom somebody, just like they have with presidents, to be in a certain position. They have technologies that have already been able to look into what this time frame is going to be. Many who are really playing on the dark side expected us to be more enslaved and more in the hands of New World Order than we already are. So a lot of times I just think that they're in sort of a chaotic sort of, they've been sort of blindsided. What do we do now? Truth is out there. Disclosure is happening. How can we kind of blend into that and still steer things into our favor? And that's what I think is what's happening. I don't think they expected us to be where we are at this stage in the game. And it's almost like they don't have a real plan. I think they're just grasping at anything they could possibly grasp at in order to, confuse us even more. I think anything coming from the Pentagon or anything from, politicians is going to be blurred and distorted to a certain degree. But there might be, particular individuals that are doing what they can to work behind the scenes to bring about justice, like David Steele, former CIA member. People should check out his videos. That's somebody on the inside that is, was on the inside that's doing all that they can to bring things into, legalities without disclosing too much until it's like a done deal. Everything else is like very much on the surface, trying to adhere to the public, creating facades. They already know that there's all kinds of abduction contact stories. They know that these events are going on, and it's making them look worse and worse the more they don't say something. So what words are they choosing? How are they saying it, and what are they presenting? They could completely create a whole. This is what they do with artificial timelines. It's an imitation reality. They look at what's going on and they come up with an imitation copy, just like a clone. We'll see like a cloned timeline distorted just enough to enslave us even more. They'll create a cloned individual to act as a plant to appear to be the authentic individual, but is still under somebody's control. They're going to do this with ufology. They're going to do this with false ascension, or anything relating to these topics. And so it's sort of like at the end of the day, it makes us all of our heads spin. Well, who can we trust? Who can we trust? Well, I think it's just so important to look at the real experiencers and how we're all, putting our information together, trying to connect dots, doing these presentations. And, it's almost like, as far as I'm concerned, the governments are like an old partner, boyfriend or girlfriend, that is like, give me another chance. Let's get back together. And after about 6 or 7 breakups, it's sort of like, sorry, even if there's well-intentioned folks in there, then join up with us. Come to one of our conferences and speak. Take the risk like the rest of us are taking. Stop playing in the same field as these schmuck bags that have been lying to us for so many years, because it shouldn't come out of that same location anymore. You either join in where the resonance of truth or the intention of truth exists and get out of, that cesspool where there's nothing but manipulation. I mean, there's still dark technologies in play. There's still masterminding ways to manipulate us through the media. But the only thing that they can really grab, is our minds. Well, we could say hasn't that always been the case? Yes, there's been mind control, but we were at a real threat, much more than we are today, that we'd be ushered down an artificial timeline and in like a FEMA camp, sort of New World Order, really compromised society. And even though that's sort of breathing down our neck all the time, it requires us to really attach ourselves to it, whether it's through fear or it's inevitable thinking, and that's all kind of phased out. So whatever they're trying to do just really doesn't have much relevance as far as I'm concerned, unless some of those representatives want to really interface more with a strong community like we have that has been talking about this for years and years and years, that have data and information and exposure of the things that have been secret. How can you line it up with that? If they can't connect in with this movement that's already taking place, and they're still sort of separating themselves from it, like in a very early stage of just, basically pointing out to people there's crafts. It's like, well, those are the ones that can't look in the sky and see that the skies are being sprayed. So that's all like, oh, yeah, it's all coming out now. Should we believe it? It's like, have you looked towards the ones that have been talking about it for decades?
Well, it seems. It seems that they had the ability to control the narrative for so many years. You only had 2 or 3, 4 television channels and newspapers. Of course, I'm speaking, pre-internet. Today, the ability to go and use discernment and find the truth with the noise coming out of every state, around the world. It's not just the United States. But now we're able to figure out the lie pretty quickly. So now they've taken the other approach, which is actually really putting out false narratives, fake news, through advertising and posts, through social media, and through television, trying to keep us in line because they've lost that control, haven't they?
They absolutely have. And even though they might be able to convince some or manipulate some, the wave of the real deal stuff is so much larger that as long as they don't make any solid agreements, they can easily, turn away. And, the more they try and shut us down, of course, the louder we're going to get. They can manipulate YouTube. They can manipulate Facebook. They can sell our data. It's like at this point, everybody's got everything. So, that bully kind of mentality. And it's like nothing's scary. Nothing's intimidated. Sorry, guys, it's really not working. Here's another platform. Thanks a lot. We're going to get louder. And then they're coming out with their squeaky little voice thinking that it's really going to affect people. Yeah, maybe some who have turned a blind eye to all that's already been, laid out there. But it's not going to hold very long. I mean, there's even competing false 12-strand DNA activation programs. I mean, this isn't just the UFO movement that is getting, somewhat targeted with maybe this other disclosure coming from a different source of where the secrets have been held within the military-industrial complex. We're dealing with the same thing when it comes to ascension. So, and this is perfect because we're talking about how to get your power back. We want to pull it back, into ourselves and have an open mind to the information. But, remember that you're the creative vessel here. We're the creative vessel here. We're the ones that are determining the future based on what our creative channels are picking up on as far as an instruction set. There's instructions from our DNA. Our DNA gets the frequency downloads to upgrade our DNA that are coming in from this correction that's taking place, from different races that are hosting the ascension timeline in connection with the mother energy that's returned to the planet, guardian races. And then there's, this whole other thing, which is trying to imitate it, it's trying to keep up with it, like, kind of this wannabe because it needs a food source. And so it's saying, well, okay, in this juncture, at this crossroads, we're going to have to mimic this and be so similar to it that it's just going to trip people up. And that's the hard part right now. We don't expect to see manipulation in places where we feel possible enlightenment or clarity or disclosure or, the same catchphrases might be being used. But this is where the inner work is so important and getting really grounded within yourself, because once you get enough of those frequency downloads or whatever you want to call them, and you're starting to really be a higher vibrational being, you're going to feel instantly a constriction, some sort of pain, some sort of contrast with those that are venturing down the artificial intelligence sort of mimicking trail. But we can't do that if we're not grounded and centered within ourselves, recognizing that we have to get in touch with the very things that are being targeted. That's our own sense of self, what our own inner truth is, which our body teaches us through physical symptoms. But, of course, humans are taught to give their power away when that happens. and also, balance. And it's not just the masculine and feminine, because, everybody's got their own sort of way of identifying with that. But it's what is it on its most authentic level? So it's the balance of light and dark, or the integration. It's not just the balance. The balance would be, we know how to integrate. Masculine and feminine knows how to be in balance, therefore it can merge. Light and dark is in balance, therefore it can merge. Science and spirituality. And what it does is it gives birth to something new that comes from our own sovereign creative abilities, not what we're getting from the news, not what's coming in from outside, not should we agree with this person or that person. We can align and resonate and be in agreement, but it has to come with, being willing to not take in what doesn't resonate and saying that just doesn't float with me, but it doesn't mean that there has to be conflict, war, or strife. That's what we've been taught. So it's a massive deprogramming happening, and they're gonna play us on all our wounds, what we've gained, and the damage that's been done from previous generations, and all these different world wars. And they've spent thousands of years setting this up so that during this time we'd be easily taken. Because this was the only time throughout the last 26,000-year cycle that we have an opportunity to ascend beyond this. And so they've been preparing for this window. Light workers and ascension guides and higher vibrational beings, whatever you want to call them, have been preparing too. So it's sort of like a showdown, except we're not manipulating or offing anybody or smearing anybody as a tactic. We're amping up the frequency, we're uniting, and we're humbly putting out all the information we can to gain some clarity. Without the old paradigm model of hierarchy, even if there's a little bit of it, it's all kind of like moving away. And, to me, the real leader right now, the most benevolent being right now, is our capacity to create sacred union within and without, to step into a unified field and to recognize that the planet knows what the F it's doing, and it's got all the codes, it's got all the higher dimensional energies that we need. So the most grounded that we are and the most connected to nature that we are, we're going to stay on track. And yes, there's higher beings that are going to assist us in that, but if they're not helping us to turn to the mother and father blueprint and what is capable of birthing within our own being, then I say it's a red flag. And it's a hybridization attempt to, just sort of engineer us even further into something that only serves who they are. And there's a lot of trickery. So, the thing is, if we devote ourselves to truth and, all the right things, even if we get somewhat sidelined or we get off track a little bit, something within us is going to have our back. It'll be our inner voice. It'll be something that we might manifest that'll help us to think twice. So I think the most important thing to get our power back is simple devotion to, truth and the most authentic form of human expansion into higher earth energies. And then just, we can relax a little bit and trust that our internal GPS is going to tell us when to turn right and left. We don't have to, rack our brains about what it is we're going to do. We can start to really use this human vessel for what it was designed for.
Let's take a break right here, and when we come back, let's continue, because I do want to talk about the ascension cycle, and let's pick up from there. Also, I want to talk about incense. We'll do all of that when we come back. Our guest tonight, Laura Eisenhower. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All new Mana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the new Mana Pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the new Mana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRAradio.com.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by New Pharma, GNU Pharma. Click on the banner right now at jimmychurchradio.com and go read about all of the science behind New Pharma. Use the promo code F2B. F2B will get you 33% off on your order. Our guest tonight, Laura Eisenhower. And Laura, right before the break, I mentioned the ascension cycle, and let's get to that. But incense, in that quiet room that you were talking about, your special place, I like to burn incense. Do you recommend anything? And also, I burn sage whether I need it or not because I like the smell. Can I burn too much sage?
I don't think so at all.
Good. Okay, so I'm cool. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, really feeling into just one's own instincts about, which smells, which essential oils, which incense, all that. We know exactly what we need, and we've been so taught not to listen to ourselves, and that's where all that distraction comes in. Even things that we feel we need in order to be more spiritual, it's like, yeah, those things can help, but, isn't this who we are naturally? And what is getting in the way? It's all that extra outer noise. Because if we were left to our own devices, just, surrounded by organic energies or things that really were in harmony with ourselves and what we're made of, there would be no struggle. It's just a matter of, shutting it off and just knowing that a lot of the choices that we make to create a sacred space for ourselves, a lot of it's just going to be, medicine that we're calling for. For some, they might just want a little bit. For others, they might, just like bring it on in heaps and loads, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And the reason why I do bring up incense, could there be could you attract something wrong by burning the wrong thing?
I mean, we're already surrounded by the wrong thing. I mean, we wake up, there's toxicity in the air, there's chemtrails in the air, nanoparticles, artificial intelligence signals. Our food isn't exactly the cleanest, even if it's organic. I mean, we can't purely, we can't completely, have the most perfect and ideal soil if the rain that falls, has touched those clouds with heavy metals. So I think we can't really attract the wrong thing when we're already waking up kind of in the wrong thing. But, we have to get really centered into like ourselves and, seek things that are going to help, to ground us and center us and help us, to take, deep breaths. And we can try something, and if we notice that it causes constriction or it causes some sort of reaction, then immediately we can put it to the side and not worry about how anybody is marketing it. Like,
right. That's where I was going with this, and that's why I think that's really good advice. You can't really do the wrong thing, right? And there may not be a right thing either. Just do your thing. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's talk about the ascension cycle. I'm glad because I burn incense at random. That's the first thing, right? I like what I like and I just do it. I'm not following some kind of regimen or something that somebody has recommended to me. That's the first thing. Second, I like sage. Right? And I know that people use it for ceremonies and they're doing it for cleansing. You know what? I just like the smell. Right, so I don't know if I'm doing the wrong thing or not, So there you go. The ascension cycle for the uninitiated. What is it?
Well, we began the ascension cycle. If we're going to put dates on it, even though people might be feeling into it on a different level. I mean, there was a harmonic convergence in like 1987. That was sort of like the push into all of this. But the Mayans prophesized 2012. Everybody knows that date. Basically, the window between 2000 and 2017 is considered a stellar activation cycle, and that's when the natural stargates begin to open up. That's when the Milky Way galaxy and the Andromedan galaxy become one again, which starts to activate our galactic chakras and all this grid work that's been taking place. Whether people realize they're doing it or not, or those that intentionally are doing it, there's needed to be a lot of clearing surrounding particularly the 8th and 9th gates, which also corresponds with our chakras. The 8th and 9th chakra actually is where we have an infinity spiral in our energy body. And the reason we don't hear about any chakras beyond the 7 is because if we start to explore the 8th and 9th and beyond, going all the way up into all these kind of numbers, offshoots of the main particular chakras, then, we start to get incredibly empowered and we start to advance this human vessel from the carbon base into crystalline, which of course isn't going to happen overnight. So when we start to move into the activation of that infinity spiral, there's greater psychic attack, there's greater, just anything to try and throw us down. So very often when that happens, a person kind of gives up or thinks it's their fault or they're not spiritual enough or they're doing something wrong, when in actual fact, it's something, that is a part of these, dark technologies and controller agendas. It's a part of their means of trying to stunt our growth and development. And so it might be an implant that was put in place that, gets triggered. And certain things that we might find ourselves more addicted to as we, move through the pain of growth. We might grab at anything to kind of escape it. And that can make it worse, and sometimes it can alleviate it, depends on who the person is. So in this ascension cycle, ending in 2017, which was recent, of course, then what? Does it mean that if we didn't get it, the door's closed? No, it doesn't mean that. But this was a peak period for a lot of people to get on board with what it all really means. Now, if people are like, what is she talking about? And all this like numbers and chakras and languages and different terminologies, I mean, that can go over to somebody's head. Well, you don't necessarily need to know the information to be, on that path. But without kind of fully understanding it, sometimes we can feel the emotional response, maybe an insecurity, maybe a fear, maybe a feeling of defeat. And so that's why it's important to know, okay, when we start to activate this, greater attack comes in, or these are the mechanisms they use when we start to enter, this territory. So that's why it's kind of good to know, because we've been in a 26,000-year cycle of the Tree of Knowledge, which got targeted with mind control. So our chance to step into the ascension energies is to know that the true path of knowledge is about self-knowledge, knowledge of how to handle our wounds, knowledge of, what's been kept secret from us. And so now that we're getting our knowledge back, this next phase of the ascension cycle is beingness, embodiment. We can go from, getting the information in a more realistic way, in a way that serves us in our development, versus false history, timelines that have been manipulated, DNA that's been compromised, earth grids that have been compromised because the dark technologies, impacted the earth grids in order for us to be born into imbalance. And that's why everybody struggles. It's not just like, those that are asleep. I mean, we're born into these distortions, and we're born into a big gaping wound that we all carry a piece of. So this next phase of the ascension cycle, with the 13th sign being activated, which started in 2010, the sun started to move into Ophiuchus, that particular sign is ruled by ether, fire, water. And it's the only zodiac sign that actually is connected to the ether element. Everything else is earth, air, fire, or water. So that being on board means that we've been in a process leading up till now of starting to understand alchemy again, correcting these reversals, understanding that the lower octaves of planetary consciousness is starting to raise its vibration. So we don't necessarily lose Saturn or Mars or these planets, but we understand a different vibratory frequency that emanates off of them. So the lowest level of Saturn would be control, manipulation, and limitation to the point of repression. Enslavement. The higher level would be master teacher. And so we initiate ourselves through having interaction with these planetary bodies till we get to the higher levels, like Mars. Okay, the lower level would be ego, self-serving. The highest level would be spirit warrior, or, somebody in service, somebody who has the willpower to create change. So we're all initiated at different levels and at different, kind of a different timing. But in these peak cycles of ascension, most people are starting to get it, or starting to see, okay, out with the old, in with the new. Something in their physical body, in their physiology, is like forcing them to see a different way, or what, they're going to just be on drugs or under the care of something that is taking them further from the goal, but maybe treating symptoms. So we got to look at that kind of stuff. This next phase has more to do with embodiment, and still kind of catching people up, bringing them up to speed, still putting out the information, still creating, everything, possible to start to help people understand that the outer information is to help to bring a person closer to who they truly are. And for the most part, that's, I think, what most of the information that is shared in our circles, is focused in on. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm listening.
Okay. Oh, good, because I'm like, what if the phone died?
No.
So in this phase, we've got a grip on knowledge, and when we get a grip on knowledge, we start to upgrade our DNA, because the tree of knowledge and the tree of life, which are basic blueprints that we all carry, is our DNA. And because the DNA, the nucleic acids, are ruled by earth, air, fire, water, our ability to create alchemy and correct these reversals and bringing in the ether is helping our DNA to start to move into that junk DNA, that dark matter, where we start to turn the lights on to, our vast consciousness that we then begin to bring into our physical root. And then our physical bodies begin to change. So it's a time of embodiment where it's like, okay, we have a grip now on, truth, or at least what it means to be a decent human being, and, healing from life's lessons, because that's really where the real teacher is. And just, life is going to give us what we need. This information can be pretty heady for people, but we have to trust that life gives us what we need in order to grow. And yes, there's those forces out there that take advantage of those initiations, and instead of teaching us how to move through these initiations of going through the dark night of the soul, or a death rebirth experience, people instead feel suicidal, or they go on meds, or, when a crisis happens, instead of it being something that helps to awaken a person or move into the initiation of greater clarity and truth, they think they're having a nervous breakdown and losing their mind, because our culture does not help us through the initiations. But if we can take it upon ourselves and look to each other that are more in the know, that these are really potent initiations, and we get to the other side, then we've gotten a grip on how to work with cosmic and earthly forces in order to advance ourselves, rather than this projection or, the constant diagnosis of something's wrong with you, and this belittling of these important initiatory alchemical experiences that are in front of us. So now, the Earth grids are changing. We're in this new ascension cycle, and it's called a double pensadodecahedron. The dodecahedron is the platonic solid connected with the ether that was manipulated by the Illuminati and put into reversal codes, which was part of the distorted symbology of these sacred symbols. Like the Tree of Life, if you Google it, you'll mostly find 10 spheres. And that's Draco DNA. We're supposed to have 12 spheres. We're actually, higher dimensional beings have 6 fingers and 6 toes, because the number 12 is the full complete picture of our DNA. But we have 5, which is 10, which is a Draco program, right? It doesn't mean because we're in these vessels that we're controlled, but the numbers and the way the calendars have changed have put us in these vessels that are biologically kind of compromised unless our consciousness can start to trick it into a higher form. Not trick it, but convince it out of the program into something greater. So I don't know if it means we're all going to sprout an extra finger and toe or 2. Who knows? But the whole point is the advanced forms that we used to be in had more appendages because, we see reflections of numbers in our own bodies and, in the earth and the sacred geometries that all got manipulated. So this is a time of correction, and we're moving into more of a time of embodiment. People don't have to worry, did they miss the bus if they don't get all this? It's more an energetic, the body is going to serve you and it's going to help you, but we have to kind of do the out with the old and in with the new. And the best thing that anybody can do if some of this stuff is just too much to grasp, just to put it in simple terms, is do what you can to detox, do what you can to, find some sort of comfort too in whatever, habits you're partaking in. Because there's no right or wrong. We don't have to be perfect. That would kind of be sucky in a lot of ways. But, detox not just on a physical level, because the physical will respond to energy on a different level. If we're clear of mind control, our body can assimilate toxins a lot easier. But if we're loaded up with mind control, it doesn't matter how much good food or detoxing we do on a physical level, we're still going to be toxic. So, we really got to pick that one place that we feel the heaviest of densities. Is it our emotional body? Are we depressed? Do we just feel like we're just in a fog and we have no clarity and we're just following whatever we see in the news or whoever we feel like following?
Right.
Do we have out of control anger? We got to look at our elements, because our elements are in our DNA. It's in our soul matrix in order to be a part of the alchemy that's available now that the 13th sign, the ether energy, and the reversals of the ether dodecahedron is now set free. So humans have to connect with that. We don't have to figure it out. We just simply need to connect with it. The magic will happen once we connect with it. And connecting with it is knowing the difference between artificial intelligence, artificial timelines, transhumanism, promises of a utopian future that is more techno-based, and really just remember what's important. Love, our spiritual development, our soul development, and really taking good care of ourselves and checking in with ourselves. Because the flow of organic ascension is available for us to correct everything by just being in the flow and allowing the clearing and cleansing to happen. And, and then we can catch up with it by making better choices as far as our habits go. But the most important is really our emotional body and our mental body, to really, clear those things. And to not buy into spiritual dogmas, even if it's new agey, just to be very careful of that. And then, beyond that, recognizing, we can observe the rest of it, but let's just not attach ourselves to it until it feels right.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point. You brought up 2. Well, you brought up 50, but let me go with the last 2. One, it doesn't matter. I eat pretty healthy, okay? I love to cook. I eat pretty healthy. But I was finding myself getting physically ill by just watching the news. It would change me physically. My diet's great. I obviously eat well because I'm a big guy, and I eat well. And as soon as I stopped, damaging my emotional state by watching stuff that was just foul and programming me, I physically changed. Now my diet, I take supplements and I do all of these other things, but it does nothing but help the emotional state. It's not the other way around. And that point that you made, I think, is one of the most important ones. You can be the most purest of dieters, but if you're poisoning yourself with stuff that is around you, it's not going to change anything. The second thing, the point that I want to make, is using discernment with who you trust. Whether it is a religious or new agey or whatever, be very careful there. Don't get too close, and don't get too attached, because that is as poisonous as anything.
Absolutely. Yep. And there's so many disguises to just the old paradigm model, just sort of shared through channels or terminologies that sound like, oh yeah, this is, really good. It's like, we have to understand that by nature, like what we're encoded with, what we're truly designed to be is already there. We need just the space to be able to become it. We need like less distractions, less, people promoting themselves as, give your power to me, I have the answers, or, any of that. And we see that, we can have teachers that are inspiring, that help us to find our sovereignty and help us to find our truth, or know great techniques. My background is in wilderness stuff. So, the great guides on these expeditions were the ones that have been bitten by a snake, or have survived the worst storms, or have seen the hardest of hard. They're the good leaders because, they can prepare. They can prepare us, but not necessarily tell us how to do it. So we each have to find our own way and trust what's organic. And, and if we're looking, to others, it's the stories of people who have triumphed and survived, or been willing to look at the difficult, who can give us a nudge in the right direction. But once it starts to turn into the old paradigm hierarchy model, then it really doesn't serve one. And let those triggers, take them seriously, because a lot of the languaging might be, you're just, there might be a projection, just like we grew up with, things that are stigmas that we can't shake. Every time somebody who's really sensitive gets criticized or undermined or made to feel less than, that's a form of manipulation and control to keep them attached, so that when they get praised, they feel like they did good. But then, if you're not following my way, then something's wrong with you. And then that inner child is like, oh, I want to be accepted and validated. And so it just traps a person. It's like, it's okay to just step back. I mean, you don't owe anybody anything except for yourself, this earth, and your connection with spirit. Everything else is secondary. It has to be in resonance to that. And if you feel lost from those things, there's everything in the world that can help to connect a person. Like you said, turning off the TV, taking a break, finding that special place in your home, and just knowing that, gosh, those that are really, helpful as guides, are ones that are directing us back to who the real, power is that lies within all of us. And I'd just be very careful of anything else. Any ET race that shows up that wants to maybe do it for us. I mean, I think we're going to find that there's going to be a lot of different things, but we can still be diplomatic. We can still create great relations with those entities without having them do it for us. Because the thing is, as long as we're not taking a stand, they're going to. But if they see that we're capable of doing it, they're going to let down their guard a little bit. They're going to be like, okay, let's cooperate then. Because as long as you guys aren't thinking for yourself, we're going to come and think for you. Or there'll be more destructive ones that are more sinister that will put on greater disguises, which we should be able to feel the difference of. But, if people want to be sovereign, then you have to want it. You can't just, we can't think that something's threatening because it wants to take control. We have to ask ourselves, but are we allowing ourselves to step up? Do we really need a babysitter? Do we need somebody to do it for us? Because somebody or something will. But we're not victims to it if we're taking the stand ourselves. And once we take the stand, we're drawing in much more benevolent and harmonious things. But, we're being pushed to the edge to decide, do we want to digress? Do we want to give our power to these technologies because we're afraid of our own spiritual growth? Well, who's asking for that kind of trouble? The people that are choosing that their own personal development isn't important enough. And so we're kind of asking for it if we don't kind of stop and check ourselves.
Well, one thing I really find interesting is when I have hope and I know and I feel like we're heading in the right direction and people are getting awake and all around me, and then I see something like the Kardashians, right? And I'm thinking to myself, it's okay to respect somebody or their opinion or hold them in a high regard, and you're interested in their intellect, and I get all of that. But then I look at something like, the Kardashians and how many, millions of Twitter followers, how many millions of Instagram, and how many that are hanging on them and watch, and it's almost like worship, right? I don't want to use the word idol. I don't want to go there, but it feels that way sometimes. And I think that we're lost. We've lost. We can't get it back if that succeeds, and it is successful.
Yeah, it is really, quite scary. There just might be something that, because the thing is, just like a biological body, if there's too much falsity or artificialness, something ends up revolting. Something ends up, a crisis starts to develop, because what's biological, what's organic is such a stronger frequency that it ends up pushing through and saying, okay, wait a second. I mean, deep down, I think every soul wants a wake-up call, but wants to sort of get away with the consumerism or the let's live through this particular person. They've got money. It must be fun. They kind of love it, and some kind of hate it and love it, and some are just like, oh, my gosh, are you kidding me? There's, maybe even a sick curiosity, like, what are these people all about? Why are people even drawn to this? I mean, everybody probably has a different sort of reaction, but it seems like the younger generations is what it's targeting, people who haven't developed themselves enough to even recognize, oh, I might be indigo or a crystal kid. It's like, well, there's not special chosen ones. There might be ones that hold stronger codes to activate the rest, but everybody's got the same potential at the end of the day. And, if they're put in front of the television, this is what they're getting, or they're seeing through it and they're getting medicated for not buying into it, not just, the Hollywood sort of glam part of it, but just anything. It's really hard to survive adolescence and come out the other end feeling empowered. And that's the hard part, is that the younger generations aren't given much of a chance. They're either dealing with unconscious people that are into things like the Kardashians, or they're getting medicated for being distracted in a class full of mostly lies, or they're being projected upon and misunderstood. And so you either come out messed up or addicted to a false matrix of BS, Illuminati, even engineering. I mean, when we look at some of the monarch stuff, I mean, they're targeted or utilized to become something from day one, just to play that influential role in society, in culture, just to prey on, people and their self-worth and their inability to feel good about themselves, so they live through these other characters who seem to be living the great life. So yeah, I mean, it's like a cavity. It's like it corrodes, like, our ability to connect in with our God-given birthright, and what nature and what this earth and what the cosmos is here to help us to develop and remember. And it becomes a feeding frenzy, and this life force gets siphoned. I mean, they have this stuff set up in order to take the power in which we give away. And they use that, and they send it off to they send it off planet to these hungry entities that, basically feed on it. And they call it loosh, but a lot of that would be the fear part of it as far as the media goes. But then what about putting these people on pedestals or watching TV and giving your power away to something that isn't fear-based? Well, it is still fear-based. It's just there's a Band-Aid on it. It's fear of the self, and it's looking to something else. That is a form of fear, even if it doesn't feel that way. And that's all collected and harvested. So now that
we need to, Laura, we need to take a break right here. And so, okay. But I wanted to mention this in this last 15 seconds. Even some of the most awake people that I have respected, some of the most awake people out there, or vegans, or things that are supposed to have self-control, I've watched them get angry and even talk down to me. And I've really been surprised about that. You're supposed to be awake. You're supposed to be aware. You're supposed to have compassion, and your consciousness is open, and you're pursuing knowledge. And you want to be angry? It doesn't fit. And that's where I think a lot of using that discernment and taking a step back with no matter who you're dealing with. One of the most awakened people out there, one of the biggest speakers out there, actually said to me, Laura, one time, what would, literally in this tone, what would I have to say on your show? And it was like this anger. I was just like, you know what? Past tense, moving on. I'm just done.
Oh my God.
And it was just shocking to me, And I think the next sentence out of this person's mouth, I'm not going to say who it was like, you know what? I'll wait till my book comes out. What are your numbers? I'm like, you know what? There you go. Our guest tonight, Laura Eisenhower. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. This segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by Numana, emergency food storage for you and your family. 25-year shelf life, MSG and GMO-free, and made in America. Just use the promo code Jimmy. Every order over $100 is going to get yourself an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt.
Click on the banners over at jimmychurchradio.com, promo code Jimmy. Laura, last year and the year before, you and I talked about this a lot, but the big D word in our community is disclosure. And it's been that way for a while, and the build-up and the build-up. But I tried to change that narrative last summer along with you and change it to discernment, because there was so much pollution going on out there, and I think people really lost sight of that practice. And for you, what is the definition of discernment?
I really feel it's the ability to, step back and feel into whether something, really serves you or not. And one has to really understand what their goals are, too, to know what to compare that with. I mean, if somebody wants to be sovereign, we need to have discernment. What might be compromising that? If we really don't want to step up and do the work, well, maybe we don't have as much discernment when it comes to that, but we have discernment in regards to the different things that we choose to join or sign up for. It really depends on where a person is on their journey. I think most of us would agree, doesn't everybody want to be sovereign? Well, it doesn't actually appear to be that way. But, it's the ability to step back and not just take in what's coming at us and take it as, that must be true, that must be real, or because it looks good, because it sounds good, because it seems benevolent, then it must be. It's the ability to really feel into the energy, to really see how your body reacts. And then to ask yourself, is that coming from, an old wound where when something good happens, you feel shut down, like you can't receive, or is that because there's a warning that needs to be looked into? So when something like that happens, when a sensation happens, we need to sit with it for a while. If we feel a certain shyness or I can't do this, or I don't want to go somewhere, does that mean that we shouldn't? Is that just us talking ourselves out of something good, or are we protecting ourselves from some form of danger? And if we don't know the difference, then we either miss opportunities or we protect ourselves from something that could be harmful. So a sensation isn't enough. We have to sit with it for a little bit. If we feel an insecurity, the brain registers, I'm lacking something, when very often we feel shy about a great ability that we never got to present to others. And we're a little nervous about it, when there's actually more abundance than we realize. But the sensation might be, we're lacking in something. So sensations don't give us enough information. I would say discernment is paying attention to the sensation, sitting with it for a little while, getting to know yourself in the process. Because really, everything that we're faced with is a chance for us to become closer to ourselves, not further away. So discernment is really putting that first. We want to get closer to ourselves, closer to spirit, closer to this earth. Is this taking me away from that or closer to that? And then just sitting with the sensation, because again, we might feel a sensation of fear, but does that mean that it's because we're being careful and cautious in a positive way, or is it something that is toxic and corrosive because it's keeping us from something good? So, it's just like pain. Is that pain because we're climbing a mountain, or is it pain because somebody's messing with us or hurting us against our will? So, again, there might be the same feeling or sensation with different reasons behind it. So, to me, in this particular field or in the work that we're all doing, pay attention to the sensations. Don't give your power away so easily. We got to give ourselves a lot more credit. The problem is light workers or ascension folks, and it's not just light workers, it's the whole shebang, multidimensional work. We're afraid of our ego. We're afraid if we are confident about something or we feel proud of our abilities, maybe it's our ego talking. Well, we got to understand that that's also a barrier, because if we don't embrace our abilities, we're not going to have discernment. So there's got to be sort of a balance between humility and confidence, and also, just taking the time to really get to know ourselves, so that our BS meter is at an all-time well-functioning level.
Well, and then there's the opposite of that, too, as well. There's the discernment, where you're able to perceive or, see through stuff and to judge it. But then there's also the discernment of the self, too, and judge yourself. And before you go and do something, look at yourself and use that same discernment that where you're trying to see through something or understand something that you can't necessarily touch. Well, you have that inside of yourself too, don't you?
Yes. So that balance of inner work and paying attention to what's presenting itself in your outer environment and how the two might connect. And if they don't connect, is it encouraging you to push the envelope a little bit and open your mind, or is it something that's compromising who you are? So we all have to give ourselves more time, because our culture, society is set up to not give us that time. That's why it's like the 9 to 5 sort of model, or maybe one day in the week, there's time for downtime. But it's our lack of really having proper downtime that, keeps us from being able to, exercise this. There's terms like you're lazy or unmotivated, when maybe we just need to meditate or lay in bed all day and pay attention to our dreams.
Right.
So if we can open up that place and drop all these judgments and pay attention to the rhythm of our bodies, we're going to be guided where we need to go to sharpen that inner need for discernment, both with what's going on outside and also how we behave. And discernment, and how we conduct ourselves. And it's not like control. It's simply just a higher law of integrity versus knocking everybody over for the sake of your own success.
Well, and let me jump in. The one thing that I think we all recognize is that today, with social media and the mass media, the fragmenting of society and defining everybody into these groups, and now if somebody speaks out or attacks, or there's negativity there, they jump on each other. And then the other part of that is, inside of one of those groups, if somebody's being negative, there's so much of sharing the negative thought and sharing negative news or something that may not even be true, and not using that discernment, and so freely spreading negativity. It's like it's the thing to do now. It's this trend. And that's where you're not using discernment amongst, inside of yourself, knowing that you shouldn't be part of this negativity and you shouldn't spread it, because then you become part of the problem.
Absolutely. And that's the importance, of inner work and self-reflection. And sometimes, it takes a crisis or something, because a crisis is an initiation, but to be able to, sit back and say, why is this happening? Why did I manifest this? How can we best utilize that for our greatest growth?
Right.
Using it as a tool, letting the weapons and assaults become a tool for our greater growth too. And not, being in denial of any of it. The thing is, the term spiritual or enlightenment, makes it really difficult for people to just be themselves and go through the processes they need to, because they're trying to attain something or achieve something or prove to others that they've gotten there, so therefore listen to me kind of thing, while they're hiding all sorts of stuff in the shadows that they don't even want to see, that they're in denial about. So, I think we just need to allow each other to be ourselves, to be, on the path we need to be on. We don't need to save the earth. The earth is multidimensional. There's higher earth energies that are in our DNA, and we're all on our own personal journey to be able to activate what's dormant so that we can get there. And us spreading negativity or telling other people how to live isn't exactly going to do it. I think the most important thing is that we just hold space for each other with love and respect. And if we send out something negative, match it with something positive. There's a lot of negativity that gets shared with all that's been kept secret. And when we share that with the masses, most of us, and I know you do, and I love that about you, there's something positive here. It's like, and if you throw out something positive or idealistic, sometimes we have to ground it in sort of the reality of what's around us. I don't want to share any sort of negative information or disclosure about something horrific going on without some real good news to follow. What's the larger picture, though, in the midst of all this that we can look forward to? I feel a responsibility to that. That's why I do, consultations, that I do readings. But, if you want to just ask a question or call me or ask about something I presented, I'll work something out that's fair, or work with your budget, whatever. I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm not perfect, but I think, we all have to just take it upon ourselves to really look at, because like you said, the stuff that we put into our heads and in our emotional bodies, can be pollution. The stuff that we, put out into the environment can be just as polluting as throwing, trash on a beach. We all need to just get to a place within ourselves where what we emit into our environment is a positive thing. And people have to be careful of their spiritual egos. Nobody should be talking to you like that. I mean, what is that? And this person's supposed to be awake not to go back into that. But that's pollution. That's toxic. That's rude. You know? That's not a part of a greater awareness. And I guess it's like constantly bumping our head against the wall and just being sort of surprised that these basic fundamental principles and values are like the last thing that humans are getting, yet we can build the most amazing cities and architecture, well, not necessarily in sync with nature, but how is this the last thing that we're figuring out? Basic human decency and love and respect.
Yeah, I often wonder, how did we get here? It seems like we're going through the same cycles that all civilizations did. It doesn't matter if it's Greece or Rome or ancient Egypt or ancient Sumer or the Mayans, and it's weird how we go through these cycles where at the end of these long periods of time, we're at our worst. We're at our worst with ethics and morals and knowledge and awareness, and things just slip away from us. It's weird. We should be at our peak of knowledge, of awareness, of our minds and of our souls, and respecting others, but we're not today.
No, it's weird, and people, have their projections, or my way is the way, or something's terribly wrong with everybody. It's like, I don't know. I mean, to me, like, community is, it just is completely different as far as how I feel, one can feel inspired to greater growth, versus, whatever it is we're experiencing. I mean, I think we all went through it kind of in high school. You got your snobs, you got your nerd. It's like all these classifications of the way people run energy or work energy. But you don't have a clique of a bunch of freaking ascended masters over in a corner, because nobody's encouraged to be that. You're either this or you're that. You're either buying into the program or you're an oddball. And yeah, you might have the spiritual few, but everybody's sort of looking at them like they're just freaking out there and crazy. And it's just like such a disconnect when we all have like this amazing connection. We all come from the same source. We're all equal in how we can relate to the unified field and what our DNA potential is. And all this petty, superficial crap, and it's fed through the TV, and it's fed through what we pick up from our parents, and how our self-esteem is shaped by the bullies or the popular people or the who really gives a what, and living kind of on the outskirts of it all, finding real information and truth. Or just a little bit of all of it. I think we've all worn a lot of different hats, but yeah, I would expect that we'd be in a much different place. And so I really look forward to these events that we have in front of us, because I think enough of us are on board with the basic value system that I think can nurture, people into what it means to be sovereign, what it means to fully be themselves, to feel into what they need to process in order to get to the goal, versus trying to be something they're not, or trying to follow something that might end up being very disappointing. I don't want anybody to follow me, but I'm following. I mean, it's a circle. It's like whoever's following me, I'm following you too, without it being like a stalking sort of thing. It's like, I want to build community. I want us all to recognize that we're equals and we're all leaders. That's my goal. And if it means, some of us are kind of like in the public eye for a little while to just help deliver that kind of message, the end result, it'll start to even out. But, I'm glad to share space with you, because I always feel like I'm just completely on the same page.
Well, we've always enjoyed that. And whenever you get a chance to hang out with us and our little group, it's always electric, and we always have such a great time sharing knowledge. And I wanted to ask you this, and I thank you for that, by the way, is as an astrologist right now, today, what do you see is going on, not only with our stars and our future, but like today? Is there something that is also affecting the planet that we don't have any control of?
Well, when it comes to the planetary energies, we only have as much control as we're able to kind of awaken to. As long as we're sort of a little bit shut down, there's going to be something that is kind of pulling us this way or that way. The outer planets, Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune, we don't have a whole lot of control over that. those energies. We can align with them and allow them to do their magic, or we can resist them and we get sort of in a complicated place. Uranus is all about shock and upheaval and crisis that leads to awakening. Pluto's all about death, rebirth, transformation, and alchemy. And Neptune is all about multidimensional awareness. So those outer planets are always working us to upgrade our DNA, to help us to rebirth, more aligned and connected with ourselves. And Uranus will help us to unify, but give us the necessary crises we need to get there. So right now we're having a lot of activations with Uranus, which is an electric energy that, if we're not ready for it, might throw us into shock. It relates to our nervous system. So if we have a lot of trauma in our nervous system, we might see that a lot of shocking things are happening to help us dislodge some of those traumas or relate to it in a different way. It also gives us, downloads and epiphanies, and helps us to step into sort of an out-of-the-box sort of awareness and truth. So that's heavily at play right now. Chiron just moved into Aries, so there's a lot of healing of the warrior energy. We just got out of Chiron being in Pisces, which related to just how we might view spiritual energy and where we feel wounded in that. Maybe we're healing from coming out of a religious family, or the negation of all things spiritual, or just wherever the wounds are. That's what Chiron is. Where is there pain? And of course, pain can lead to growth, or it can lead to being crippled, depending on how we work it. Our society, our culture, the mind control goes against most of these planetary activations. And so each person's chart's going to show where are they most sort of affected by the programs, the targeting, the infiltration, and sort of help guide them into where they can most benefit from what's available. And so we don't need the wheel anymore. That's my goal as an astrologer. Let's move beyond the wheel, if possible. But we might need the map in order to be able to let go of the map. So this week, Mars is activating a Jupiter-Pluto energy. So big Kundalini activations could be happening. When Mars and Pluto work together, it's like a huge surge. And then Jupiter connects with our higher self. So it's not just we're just going to be walking around with a lot of excess sexual energy. It's it's going to go all the way up to our higher self and cleanse our chakras. So, it's written into the cosmos, the ascension energies, and the earth. So everything we could possibly need is already here. So we don't have to figure out how we're going to do it. We just simply need to move the distractions away and let our biology, let our consciousness, and let, the earth and cosmic energies do their magic. But we have to take out the trash, or else, it's going to be inhospitable to those energies. We're going to be too blocked. We're going to have too much toxicity accumulated. And again, I think the most important places to clear are the mental, emotional bodies. Look at your spiritual energies. Are you giving your power to something outside of you on a spiritual level? And if you are, is it helping you to find yourself, or is it taking you further away from the goal? And of course we want clean food. What people eat, I don't think matters. I think everybody has the basic right to decide what they put in their body. But I would just encourage people to, make sure it's not GMO or filled with additives and preservatives, but, to each their own. If you're healthy-minded and your body can assimilate toxins a lot easier. We just have to, keep clearing where we feel most called, where we feel most toxic and heavy, and, enjoy the freedom of just being you, regardless of what anybody else has to say. The most important thing is we don't hurt one another. The rest of it, we reserve the right to decide how we're going to flow. So there's a lot of energies that are helping us to stand into more confidence in what it means to just be free to be who we are. And, everything is there. We're not dealing with any planets that are taking us away from ascension. We're dealing with a matrix of manipulative agendas that are trying to do that. So, I think people just need to have a little bit more faith in the natural world and what's happening on a cosmic level. And even if we do get stung here and there by a bee or a wasp or a snake, there's also medicine, in our interaction with whatever creatures, whatever animal medicine, whatever spirits, whatever elements we're relating to most. Allow yourself to just read that language, to be able to get the messages from there instead of, humans that are trying to figure it out. We need to walk hand in hand and have faith in our processes together and have, basic trust in our loved ones. But the real faith and trust, we can really hand over to the mother in this earth and what we're truly made of. And trust that we will blossom into our greatest potential if we can just nurture the process by holding space for ourselves, removing ourselves from the things that undermine it.
Are you on Twitter?
I'm going to get on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter yet.
Okay, well, now we have OnStellar, and you are on OnStellar, and everybody can go now and follow and friend Laura there, and it's just simply Laura Eisenhower, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
Now, how can everybody, besides OnStellar, how can everybody reach you?
My website is cosmicgaia.org, and you'll see, I do sessions, and you can sign up for that. And I'm on Facebook until I probably move over to OnStellar or start to branch away from that. So, but yeah, I'm on Facebook, Laura Eisenhower there. But yeah, through my website, you can send messages, you can book a reading, you can check out the events that are coming up. That's on the front page.
Now, of course, you're going to be at the New Living Expo this weekend, and you're also going to be at Contact in the Desert again this year.
Yes, I'll be at Contact in the Desert and Dimensions of Disclosure with Corey Good and others in Colorado. I'll be posting that pretty darn soon. There's an online event with Teresa Llaneros that is on my website. But yeah, the two big ones that are upcoming are New Living Expo and Contact in the Desert.
And what days are you speaking at the New Living Expo? Because that is this weekend.
Yes, Friday I'll be speaking at 8, and Saturday I think it's 7 o'clock. It's in the evening sometime, and I'll be on a panel. I just found out Saturday at 11. If you go, check out the website. I have the direct link and information about the times and what I'll be presenting on cosmicgaia.org.
Thank you.
Yeah, when you were asking about the planets, just that rundown I gave was basically what the planets are encouraging, if I didn't make that clear.
Well, no, and, this is what's really strange to me, and we've got to wrap up here, but it seems like, and I want you to laugh, but it seems like Mercury is always in retrograde.
Even when it's not in retrograde.
Even when it's not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, it's always in retrograde. Thank you so much, Laura. You're the best. And have a great time this weekend. And please say hello to everybody up there in San Francisco. It's such a great event. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Jimmy. Take care. See you soon. Bye.
You got it. Laura Eisenhower, everybody. And again, she will be up in San Francisco at the New Living Expo this weekend. And you can now find her over on OnStellar. It's Laura Eisenhower. You can find her over there. She's doing what everybody else is doing, which is phasing out Facebook. The end is nigh. Facebook. It's so done. I feel so much better. Laura Eisenhower, how to get your power back. I'm going to open up the phone lines right now, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. I'll be right back.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
So you went to dinner last night, you had your favorite pasta. Ugh. Or maybe you had a heavy, spicy meal and it left you. Ugh. GetTheTea.com. Maybe you mowed down a huge steak and your plumbing is all plugged. Ugh. GetTheTea.com. Our super strength tea will take care of your occasional. Ugh. It's all organic and non-GMO. Get rid of ugh. We have so many great supplements, but our super tea is number one. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at naturesyouth.com. naturesyouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at naturesyouth.com. That's naturesyouth.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRAradio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Got to thank Laura Eisenhower. Strong tonight. Unbelievable. All right, a couple of things really quick. If you're on hold, stay right there. I'll get to calls here in just a second. I was looking at Twitter during the show and going back to OnStellar. Look, I'm just going to say this now because you're listening to me live and throughout the replays and stuff. If this continues, then listen to me now because you need to pay attention to your email. Once you go onstellar.com is where you register for the site. The alpha test is going on a separate link. Okay, so onstellar.com is not, that is just where you register. Now, once you register on onstellar.com, get your screen name, get your passwords and everything, you're going to get the verification email. You're going to go do that, and it's going to verify through that process. Then you're going to get a second email. Pay attention to your email because that second email that comes in is going to have the link. It's going to say alpha test. You're going to click on that. You're going to have a invitation code, and it's going to take you back to the special link, and there you're going to plug in your code and everything else and log in a second email. I see that some of you are going back to the registration site right now and thinking that is the site where OnStellar is sitting for the alpha test. It is not. Eventually, we're going to go through a beta test. There's going to be a beta site. Eventually, in a month or two, when the site actually goes live, then that will be onstellar.com. But right now, we're in the alpha and beta testing phases, okay? So you're going to get 2 emails. Look for the second email. After you register, you verify, you confirm your password and your screen name, and you do all of that. Then you're going to get another email, and that's the one that's going to take you to the site, okay? So you're going to get 2 emails. The second one is the one that's going to take you to onstellar.com, the alpha testing, okay? It's really simple. There were literally tens of thousands of people today on the site. Most of them, nearly all of them, had no issues. So there you go. Just pay attention to your email. You'll see the second one, and then you can go to where the magic is happening. Okay, and now I have been goofing around here during the show over at OnStellar, and the speed is really jumped up. Okay, it's pretty extraordinary how fast it's running right now. If you go through, again, if you're on hold, stay right there. If you go through and you see that funny little message, "Hello, people of Earth," that's because some of the bug fixes are being brought forward, and they are uploading those fixes to the website and then bringing it back. This is the first day of alpha testing. Okay, so yes, there are bugs and there are things. There are going to be delays in servers and things. You know, it's just part of the process. This is the first day of alpha testing. One thing is for sure, I am shocked and happy about how smooth it has been. You know, so think about that. The site is beautiful. Go and check it out. Register at onstellar.com. Get the first email. Verify through that. Then you're going to get, after that's approved, then you're going to get the second email. And then you can go and join in. Okay? All right. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to area code. Where did I just click? 408. You're up next on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's your obsessed fan from Sacramento, Debbie.
Hi, Deb. How are you?
Hi, good. Hey, you know, the OnStellar thing is great, and I don't know how many Fadernauts listen to InfoWars, but they were talking about, they keep talking about these Washington insiders come on, and they keep talking about the Facebook inquisitions that Mark Zuckerberg just went through, and he keeps saying, you know, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube are all a creation of the CIA, and they keep repeating this message and getting it out there. So the more we can get out to people we know about OnStellar, you know, they're going to drop this stuff. Like you said, it's fading. It's going to be going away, and we're going to be taking over the internet, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to go on. And I can assure you, that all of Silicon Valley and probably most of Washington, D.C. is fully aware of OnStellar. Okay, they know. And I love it. I love it. And this is completely out of their control. 100%. There's nothing that they can do about it. And that I just...
It's really driving them crazy.
So have you registered?
Oh, yeah. A long time ago.
Isn't it amazing? Did you spend time on the alpha test today?
I couldn't. I was at work. I saw it in my email. It's like, darn it, I want to get on there, and then I couldn't. And then I couldn't tonight because I wanted to get on for the show.
Right.
And listen.
Well,
but I'll do it this weekend. I'll be messing around with it.
It's going to blow your mind. It's really, I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind. Thank you so much, Deb, and enjoy the rest of your night. And then let me know what you think of OnStellar.
Absolutely. Take care, Jimmy. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, Deb. Deb, the obsessed fan from Sacramento. OnStellar is it. I'm telling you, it's the future. It's Internet 3.0. Everything else is old tech, man. It's old technology, and it was fine in 2008. You know, going back all the way back to like AOL, you know, and MySpace. That's all previous stuff. That's previous. This is the next step. It's the next phase of the internet, and it's all about us this time around. I'm telling you, it's going to be huge. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
The Awakening Man.
The Awakening Man. Does the Awakening Man have a name?
Eric, you silly man. Come on now. You should know that by now.
Well, I do, but, you know, how many people are listening to this show that don't have a clue?
Okay, that's true. I'm sorry. Well, I want to say I have bought in, and this is not to blow smoke on you, but the reality is since you had David Adair on this weekend, I am now trusting your discernment 100%. So I'm going all in on Stellar. I just want you to know that.
It's incredible. Have you poked around? Did you go in?
I'm in. I'm already in, brother. I'm there.
Is that incredible?
I have one quick question for you. This is what I don't understand, and maybe you can. And I have a great story to tell you, just so you know. But now let's say hypothetically somebody's on Stellar. They're doing readings. They're producing books, whatever, and they're presenting their products. And then there's some sort of trade system. I don't understand it yet. So can you kind of explain a little bit how that would work to give me an idea that how that kind of might go down?
Well, it's actually very, very, very simple. First off, it's not going to be in your control, okay? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to think. You don't have, okay, so that part of it, it's just going to happen automatically. And so think about a computer game, a video game that you're playing, right? And you go through and you play the game and you do the things and you advance and you've got a little pouch, right? And that's filling up with tokens, right? So you can go to the market and buy a better sword or, get a better pair of boots, right? Get some magic, and you play the game some more and you're earning stuff. And then you're going back and it's the same process that is going to happen on Stellar. You don't have to purchase tokens. You can if you want. And there's a reason why you would want to purchase tokens. But the more that you participate, everybody across the board, the more people that are involved in this group, this economy, this network, and they're clicking and they're liking and they're uploading and they're commenting, the blockchain is going to create more tokens for the economy. And so you will be able to, for example, you want to go, Richard Dolan is a publisher, right? He's a publisher. He sells
exactly
books.
Who I was thinking about.
Okay,
I swear to God, I was thinking.
So you go to Richard Dolan's page. You go and you purchase one of his books, and the price on the book is 10 tokens. You're going to spend 10 tokens, and then you will get the book shipped to you, and the fulfillment happens. So, and how the fulfillment happens, that's up to the author or the publisher. For instance, you could be a self-published author where you've got books in your garage, right? And this happens all the time. Or bracelets, or jewelry, or whatever, T-shirts, right? And you're shipping out of your garage. Well, somebody's going to go and order the book from you, and the tokens are exchanged. You're going to plug in, how much each one of these sells. There's going to be a calculator there. Dollar value versus the current token value, up to the minute. What's the value of the token? Is it $1, $1.10? Is it 50 cents? Whatever. So they put in the value of their book for $9.99. And then that current token exchange rate is going to be right in front of you. So you're going to go and you're going to spend the tokens. If you want to purchase tokens to go and contribute to the economy so you can go and purchase from people, you can do that. So that's how it works. It's very, very simple. And every time you do a purchase like that, the blockchain moves forward and mines a little more of a token, which goes back into the economy, and it circulates. It's just like any main street in small town America. You got a farm outside of town. You've got a little warehouse. You've got some manufacturing going on. Got a couple of restaurants, a couple of bars. You got an antique shop. You got a little store. You've got a pharmacy and a car dealership, and it's a self-sustaining thing, right? It's the same thing here.
Trade barter, it works, by the way. I know it works.
Yeah, of course it's going to. Of course. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So
people don't need to be skeptical of this. It's probably new for maybe the younger generation, but I'm just telling you from my experience, it totally works. And if you have a service, a book, or anything that you can offer, and you post that on your on-seller account, and people are interested in that, you're gaining tokens, and you can take those same tokens and buy a book from Richard Dolan. So technically, you're not really spending any money. You're just trading tokens, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so
that makes total sense.
And if you want to go and exchange those tokens and turn them into dollars, well, that's what they're there for. You can do that too as well.
Yeah, Twitter and Facebook, and nobody is doing this. So people got to realize, and I'm not pitching on Stellar, but the point is that this is totally new. People need to just embrace it and not trip out about it. I mean, to me, it seems awesome.
Well, you know, what I'm disappointed in when it comes to Facebook is the amount of advertising that is there now. And that advertising, which Facebook makes all the money, the end users, the people that participate, that drive that economy, they don't have any financial gain. They do, and they post something, and they get 500 likes and 100 comments. Well, you know who makes the money from that? That's Facebook. And they're looking at the people that are coming in and what you're clicking on and what you're liking, and those ads go into the feed and into the news feed. And this system that now it works, and it works for Facebook. But if you're an author and you post comments or you have your stuff there, it benefits nobody but Facebook or Amazon, right? And so it's a lose-lose. But here on OnStellar, if you have a post or an interesting article that you want to write and you post it up there, and you know, with some photographs or some images or some drawings, and you create this article and you post it, and people like it and people comment on it, you are rewarded for that. And
I'm down with that.
It's extraordinary.
Seriously,
it's extraordinary. And you know, there's so many. It's nothing but upside. You know, and you're not going to see. You know, me cruising around today on OnStellar today, and I know that this is the alpha version, but I'm cruising on OnStellar today, and I'm not seeing one ad. I'm not seeing one distraction. There's nothing there, and it's a weird vibe that comes back to your emotional state. It's fun. It's like fun.
Okay, one more
it's
question
cool.
on OnStellar. I got to ask you this. So, for example, on Twitter, I'm following X number of people, and I'm thinking in my mind that the people that I'm following, I'm going to read their posts, but unfortunately, I love Twitter, but I'm getting all this information that I'm not asking for. So on OnStellar, is there going to be all this information being flooded into my, we'll call my timeline that I'm not interested in, or am I going to get to just isolate the information that I want?
Right. So this is, you bring up a really good point. And as I was talking with our development team over there, one of the ideas that I had that it got a thumbs up from everybody is that you would be able to, in your feed, which right now is not, that's not running right now. We're going to get that up here in the next week or two. But that you would be able to select hashtags that you want to see in your feed. You want to see nothing but time travel, and you want to see health and wellness, right? And that's what you want to see. And that, you know, so you can customize your feed on what is it that you want to see, or maybe friends, right? Or certain authors, when they comment or they post something, there's some type of news on their profile that you want that to come up. So totally customize it. This is done for you guys. This is done for the community. And maybe
it's going to save a lot of time too, really, when you boil that. I mean, to scroll through Facebook and Twitter, I mean, this will save a lot of time and energy trying to find stuff that you're interested in. It's going to be right there in your face, basically.
Yep, exactly. So there you go. I'll see you tomorrow night, Eric, on Fader Night. Until then, have fun poking around on OnStellar.
Okay, well, I'll have to tell you my cat that killed the troll story, I guess. You don't want to hear that real quick.
Well, let's do it tomorrow night on Fader Night.
Okay, I'll give you a call tomorrow night. It's a true story, fantastic story in Shasta 40 years ago. Just want you to keep it heads up.
Thank you so much.
A cat literally killed a 2-foot troll in the mountains of Mount Shasta.
I can't wait. Thank you, Eric.
You're going to love it. All right, we'll talk to you later, brother.
Tomorrow night.
All right, good night.
And we'll say, I do want to remind everybody, tomorrow night's Fader Night, and John Rappaport will not be here tomorrow night with his No More Fake Newsroom Live. So we're going to go straight to open lines. It's going to be a full night of open lines tomorrow night. I'm very, very excited about that. And, you know, John will be back next week. But, Rappaport. And if something has come up, it's just come up. Now, so I want to get back to what Eric was saying. I don't want to lose sight of this. Through this alpha testing, the way that it is set up right now is we need as much activity there as possible, normal activity, posting, liking, commenting, friends, putting groups together, scheduling events, getting your profile information up there, because we are able to go back and fix things. And there are some things that are wrong, right? I shouldn't say wrong, that aren't showing up right. So, and I've noticed it too. So anyway, all of that is going to be worked on over the next couple of days. This is just the first day of alpha testing. It's day one, and this is what I find so interesting about this. Because the site, I keep saying site, because the network, because the platform is so solid and looks so good and is running good right now, everybody thinks that this is ready to go. It is not. As cool as it is, and I know what you guys are thinking, man, this is ready. No, it's not quite ready. And there are some other feature sets here that we are going to add on every single day that are going to be incorporated back into the platform, and the alpha testing is going to continue. Then we're going to get to the beta test. We're going to add a couple of other major features onto it, and we're going to go through that. And once we feel confident, and we're feeling pretty good right now, then we're going to go live with the site. Okay, so that's where it's at right now. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I thought would be really cool is exactly what Eric brought up. You would almost think that I told Eric to ask me that question. Is that when we have so many different subjects in the supernatural and paranormal community, it's all over the place, right? And that's what's great about this community. But not everybody may want to read about health and wellness or crystals or life after death or UFOs, or time travel, conspiracy theory, 9/11. Maybe you don't want to see that stuff in your feed, and you want to be selective and custom tailor your experience because your user experience is paramount. That is one of the things that has caused this lagging of and the pollution that you get inside of Facebook and other platforms that are out there. You're polluted with and you're bogged down with stuff, and you're wasting your precious time and your minutes. So the ability to absolutely custom tailor what you are getting access to is just an amazing thought. How cool is that, right? And so when you go to the other beautiful thing, when you go to the OnStellar homepage, and this is a very, very creative way of doing things, where you have all of these articles that are posted and what is trending right now and what are people resonating with and what are they interested in. Because you can go through and see this and go, okay, all right. I can go straight here and read why is everybody clicking on this? What's the interest here? You may not have been exposed to something before, and you get something new and a new piece of knowledge. This is the alpha phase of this, but you can see now that this part, which is very important and integral to OnStellar, is to see what is actually trending in the supernatural community. What is it and it could be some piece of breaking news that you didn't know about before, and then you go and click on it and check it out. And that's what this is for. So when you click on trending or click on OnStellar and you go to this page, that's what that is there for. This isn't the home page of trending news from a news source and they're trying to force something onto you. That's not what this is for. This is the exact opposite. This is what is trending inside of the community. Articles that are about us. And it's totally cool. And you can always go back and go to your profile page. You can create at any point here. You can see who is online. You can look at your friends list. You can see not only who is there and who is current, but somebody that you may want to send a message to. Now, all of these features are on different platforms, but they're not all on one. And being able to have all of these messaging things with messages and conversations going on, you can have all that happening at the same time, or you can absolutely turn it off. You can turn that feature off. Maybe you need to concentrate. Maybe you're writing. Maybe you're doing something else. You're involved and you don't want to be disturbed. Turn it off. Okay, the ability to do that is something that lacks on other platforms. A literal do not disturb light, right? Think about this for a second. It is some of the coolest things that you've always wanted, but nobody ever did anything about it. You have a direct line to me. You have a way to complain, comment, suggest, all on the inside of OnStellar. Bug fixes and everything. All of that is there, and it's open to you, and you can go and have access to it. Let me tell you something. You don't have that with Facebook, YouTube, Google. Do you know the phone number for YouTube? There isn't one. You can't call Google. It doesn't exist. If you've got issues, what do you do about it? If you want something added, you have a cool suggestion, what do? There is nothing you can do with Facebook, Google, Twitter, Instagram. There isn't a person. You cannot get somebody on the phone. You can't. I have an account representative at YouTube, and the only reason why I have that account representative and I can get him on the phone is because he reached out to me, and I got an email one day. Hi, I work for YouTube, and no, this isn't a crank call. Here's my phone number. Here's my email. We want to talk to you. Our AI. Our software found you, and there are reasons why we would like to talk to you and give you this opportunity to have an account representative. I couldn't believe it. The first thing I said, this is 2 years ago, first thing I said to him was like, dude, I can't believe you have a phone number. Yeah. And there's no other way. No, there is no way to call YouTube. You can't do it. And he said it to me. I was blown away, and he thought it was funny. He goes, yeah, I know. We have, millions and millions and millions of YouTube channels and users out there, and there's just no way to facilitate any of that. And all of our responses, most of them are automated. All of the reviews of videos are automated. It very rarely gets to a human set of eyes. And I couldn't believe it. And he was actually saying this to me. So you need to really think about that. And that's why OnStellar is so important. It is about you and the community, and this is a decentralized social network for you. And it's real, it's running, it's great, it's amazing. So do go to onstellar.com right now. Get your registration, get it done, get through the first email, verify your account and your screen name. Get ready to go. You're going to see a second email, and that's going to be your invitation to head on over and get involved with the alpha testing. You can be a part. Today is a day that you will repeat to friends and family years from now. I was there, man, on day one. I was there. I was a part of it. And they're not going to believe you. Think about that for a second. If you'd be able to say that you were part of something this big like this in the past. OnStellar.com. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night is another Fader night. Open lines all night long. Come and hang out with us. We got lots to talk about. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster Drew the Geek. Music Doug Aldrich. Intro Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. That's right. You can still follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You go to On Stellar. I'm right there, Jimmy Church. You can find me. Until tomorrow night, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Teppy.